Welcome to the Crossroads Chronicles, a series of one-shots where we show off as many different game masters and as many different systems as we can before repeating any of them. I am super duper excited to introduce you to our narrator tonight. Sarah, please introduce yourself and tell us what we are playing.
Hello, I am so excited and so incredibly nervous to be here, but I have wonderful folks around me, so it's going to be a good time. My name is Sarah, or Sarah L. Kinney, all around the internet. I use she, her pronouns, and today we're going to be playing the Cypher system, my Mont Cook games, which I love for its elegance, flexibility, and the way it empowers everyone at the table to be a part of the narrative. The backdrop of our story is going to be the urban fantasy setting of Tullus, which is also by Mont Cook Games. Now I'll just share a little bit of information about this wonderful, beautiful living city that our story will take part in. Welcome to Tullus, the city by the sea, a place of mysteries and secrets. Above the city, a dark spire looms, reaching impossibly high into the sky and serving as a reminder of evil long past and yet ever present. Below the city sprawls an endless network of ancient dungeons that draw adventurers from all corners of the empire. Beyond the city, open waters stretch into the horizon, and forests more ancient than the dungeons themselves conceal truths and histories of their own. But most importantly, within the city are busy streets bustling with life as residents make their way to work and to school, to temples and to pubs. This is Tullus. This is your home. Let's meet our residents.
Hey, what's up, gang? My name's Gainer. I use they, them pronouns, and today I will be playing Chrissy Corpus. He is a lucky speaker who brings good fortune wherever he goes.
Hello, I am Farah Sarkai, pronouns she, her, and today I am playing Sylvie Hedan, who is a graceful warrior who absorbs energy, also pronouns she, her.
Hey, I'm Cadence, they, them pronouns. Today I will be playing Azuri, who is a creative explorer who travels through time.
I am Kerri Smith. I use she, her pronouns, and today I am playing Charlie, who also uses she, her pronouns, and who is a brash explorer who fights dirty. And with that, let us tell you a story as I hand the table over to Sarah. Take it away, please.
The last thing you remember is you went to sleep in your bed, or on your pile of crates, or on a stack of clothes, wherever you fell asleep, whatever you call your bed. That's the last thing you remember. But now you find yourself in a space where you feel this cold air wiping up against your skin. You hear a flurry of something soft, but there are countless numbers of this soft thing rustling in front of you. And then you feel your body jolt as your eyes go open. It's that feeling of you're trying to fall asleep and your body wakes you up as if you were coming from a fall. And you all open your eyes and you are in this black space. And at the center of it, you see a swirling vortex of feathers of every color you can imagine, and colors that seem to flash before your eyes because you cannot quite comprehend what they are. And at the center of this vortex of feathers that goes up into this black space, into this blackened sky that reaches 30, 50, 60, 70 feet. You keep looking up and the vortex of feathers continues to extend higher. You see a sliver of rainbow light at its core. And then you see each other in this space, each one of you standing on a different side of this vortex of feathers, each one of you equidistant to one another.
I find myself with an eerie sense of calm. I think I've learned to react with things as they come. I found myself fair number of strange situations over the years, but this is definitely one of the stranger ones. I can't feel anything else around me, can I?
The longer you spend in the space, the more you hear, perhaps the shuffling of the others. You kind of hear your clothes kind of wipe against one another as you move. But other than that, this space is you and the others and the vortex of feathers.
Howdy. Uh, I wish I could offer you more than that, but seems we find ourselves in a situation, as it were. Uh, Everybody else seeing the strange feather vortex happening in the center, or are we just is that just me? And it just kind of look at everybody else.
And now over to Sylvie.
Sylvie is a average height, slender brunette with a dancer's body. Long dark hair, wearing kind of studio clothes. She is elegant and put together, and at the moment, just kind of standing, mouth a little open, looking at this thing that is both confusing and beautiful. Um, it reminds her of some of the performances she's done because of the feathers and the swirling and the whatever. And she's concerned, perhaps a little worried, and perhaps a little afraid, but also there's a sense of familiarity almost. And she will look over. Well, this is not how I expected to spend my morning, but yeah. I am fine. What of the rest of you?
And I think on that, we turn to Zuri.
Sure. Zuri is fairly young, about 21, has sort of wavy, curly, sort of in that border between the two, brownish hair, and is looking around kind of... Wait, am I trying to take it all in? Just trying to work out right now, is this still the dream, or who you other three folk are around? What's going on?
And then Charlie.
Charlie is like 5'5", and she's got kind of dark brown hair pulled back into a ponytail most of the time, with just like messy strands hanging out in random places. She's got like a perpetual fat lip. It's just always busted open and bleeding at some point or another, and bandages around her hands as well. And she is like trying to take steps away just to make sure she's got like a bead on all of you, and kind of looking, taking in what everyone's saying, is just kind of nodding. And I think you just kind of hear her saying, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home." And is just looking around, and that's Charlie.
Instead of waking up in your home, you hear a voice, and it seems to come from everywhere, from behind you, from beside you, almost from within your head as well. You have been summoned here for grave purpose. We have been betrayed by the Celestial Conclave. One of our beloved has been taken. You will retrieve them. You will bring them back into our loving embrace. They will be safe because you will be successful. And as this being is talking, you feel something burning on your chest. It tickles at first, but then it begins to burn a little bit more, and it begins to hurt a little bit more, to the point where It is a pain that you can push aside and ignore, but it is a pain that is there.
Does the Celestial Conclave sound, is that name familiar to any of us?
Anyone who would like to can roll a knowledge history check. I won't give a challenge rating for this. Instead, the higher you get, the more information you will receive. Any skills related to history or to religion would count.
I rolled a 16 on the die.
I
So you
rolled
beat
a
challenge
13.
5. Challenge 4.
18.
Charlie gets a no. And Chrissy beats a challenge 6. Zuri, do you have any skills that apply to this?
Do have knowledge history.
So you would also beat a challenge 5. So everyone but Charlie remembers a couple of things about the Celestial Conclave. It is a temple that sits at the heart of Temple Street, or at the heart of Temple District, on the northernmost part of the Street of a Million Gods. Castillus is a place where there are almost, not quite, but almost as many gods worshipped here as there are citizens. The Celestial Conclave is one of the largest and most resplendent buildings in that area, large marble with domed tops. And it is a place that isn't necessarily a religion in and of itself, but rather it is a religion of religions. Chrissy, with your 6, what you know is that this is a place that is also the largest repository of knowledge about other religions in the entire world, as far as you know. But that's probably true, given kind of anything you've ever heard about this place. In fact, you're new in town, but you've heard of this place before. It's rather storied and well known. So this is a place where those who want to learn more about maybe their own religion would go to see ancient texts or secondary copies of things that have been penned.
All right, so we got a situation there. Okay, so what, you need us to rescue someone or something?
Our beloved, the one known as Micah, has been taken. They have been gone too long, and I know that they disappeared around the Celestial Conclave. It will be our job to retrieve them.
All right.
Is there some kind of, like, reward? Or why?
You will have 3 days to accomplish this. Your reward, if you're successful, will be a 4th day.
What?
Cool. All right, standard sort of do it or cease to exist sort of scenario. I get it.
Wait, that's
If that
standard?
is how your mind chooses to comprehend this, then yes.
Unfortunately, I've dealt with a surprising number of situations like this in my past. If folks really want you to do something, they'll just make sure you know that if it doesn't get done, you won't be seeing tomorrow's light.
Is there anything you can tell us about this Micah and where they may have gone?
Micah had been working with the Celestial Conclave, and then suddenly he is gone. He is no longer felt by our love. He exists somewhere that extends beyond, where we can see him, where we can love him. Another of my order, another of my beloved, would be able to provide you with more information. Tegan, if you need their help, she will be at the Pointy Hat. I've been told it's a fine place to spend a day. I would not know.
I say, great. I guess I've been asked to do worse things than go get a drink. So I guess when we wake up, are sent back to our earthly forms, then I will see all of you. I'll be the one sitting with a double shot on the house at the very least, or paid for, I imagine, by this strange feathery creature which has asked me to go to this bar. It's the least they could do. And I think Chrissy just kind of sits here, arms crossed, and just patiently waits to be sent home.
You're not sure how you can tell that the swirling vortex of feathers is scoffing at you, but it does. It seems to undulate for a moment as you suggest that they would pay for your drinks. And it continues to swirl. And as you're waiting, that burning at your chest continues to get a little bit warmer and a little bit warmer until it starts to get hot and you can feel something there.
My top is not all the way to the neck. Can I, like, is there a thing actually burning here, or is it just kind of like, you know, metaphorical, if you will?
As Sylvie looks down at her chest, you can see it has this similar type of light seems to be being cut into your chest as what you see in that sliver at the core of the ring of feathers. And as you look at it, it seems to be, it's hard to tell, but there's definitely a 8-pointed star enclosed in 2 circles. And then it looks like additional details are being wrought inside of it.
The makeup department is going to be so unimpressed if they have to cover this in the next show.
What the? And I just immediately look into my shirt.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't love this. If I could give just one critique to this whole pulling us into a dark void and giving us a task to do for your, I guess, against a threat of death, if we could remove the part where you burn a symbol into my chest, that would be greatly appreciated. Just for future iterations.
Is this useful for anything, or is this just your trying to make this impressive aesthetic?
Yeah,
it has frat energy, if I can be honest.
Some things that have been done can be undone, but not this. And the being surges again. These feathers kind of extend outward, making less of a singular columnar vortex in the middle of this blank space and more of surrounding you, covering the entire area as this voice continues to swell, and you hear it in your heads and you hear it all around you. And it seems to be waiting, giving anyone else the opportunity to say or ask any final things. So in that silence, you wake up and you find yourself in whatever place you went to sleep in. And when you look, if you do, at your chest, you see that mark emblazoned on your skin. It is morning on a cloudy day, which is pretty normal for Tullus. It looks like it'll probably rain in a little bit. You can smell the dew in the air. And you have 3 days to do whatever this thing has told you to.
Sylvie sits up, looks down, just kind of pinches the bridge of her nose and shakes her head in frustration, and gets changed to head out, I suppose. She dons a scarf also to cover this situation. But puts herself together and starts wandering off to the pointy hat.
Zuri will wake up, and the first thing that they're going to do is just basically, tear open a notebook that's sitting next to the bed and actually start, writing down everything that can be remembered from the dream. Looks down, sees the symbol still, and actually sketches a copy of the symbol back into one of the pages as well. And then we'll get dressed, wearing probably a button up to cover any any branding or anything like that. That's make sure this symbol is not visible. And probably try and rush out a little bit and sort of check what time it is and see if they can sort of sneak out before anyone else in the house sort of is aware of it. And would I be familiar already with the pointy hat, or?
Tessarion has actually talked about it. It's a nostalgic wizard bar in Old Town, so you would be able to get
just
close.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll head down there then and sort of, probably take up a normal kind of Zuri position and try and find a bit of a shadowy corner, and sort of sit there and just sort of start observing and see if anyone else that is recognized from the dream happens to show up as well.
I think so. Charlie wakes up kind of confused, looks around, kind of pushes off some of the clothes that she was sleeping on, stands up, looks at the mark, and goes, Pointy hat. Have I been to the pointy hat? Fuck.
You probably haven't, but you've probably heard of some of the Delvers who are classical wizards talking about it.
Okay. No, pointy hat. I haven't been kicked out of that one yet. I'm good. We can go. And I begin my trek towards the pointy hat.
I think Chrissy wakes up and he just kind of sits up in the back of his truck here. He's got a little bed back here. Very sparse setup. It's a older orcish dude, probably in his mid 50s, maybe late 50s, early 60s. Got a kind of unbuttoned Hawaiian shirt on. You can see the burn in his chest, and he just kind of goes, "Well, I guess it's a good thing I didn't have anything to do for the next 3 days." He hops out of his truck. He's kind of dressed and make sure he's all set in the mirror here. He doesn't really do anything, just kind of buttons up his shirt and buttons his pants, puts on his hat. And he's newer to the city. He doesn't know where he's going, but starts walking, knowing that eventually his feet do tend to take him to wherever he needs to go. And just the first building he catches his eye on, he'll walk into, assuming that it's gonna be the bar he needs to go to.
So over the course of this kind of early morning, each of you make your way into the Pointy Hat. And it is kind of like a fantasy TGI Fridays. There are wagon hubcaps on the wall, but they seem to be covered in runes. And there are pictures of, chronicling different reagents and spell components, but they're in sepia tones and black and white. The collages on the walls could use a little bit of help to maybe be a bit more artful, but the walls are fully covered and it does create a certain ambiance. The probably most noticeable thing, though, is that this early in the day, this is a bar. They do serve food, but it's very sparsely populated. You see a couple of groups here and there, but the most striking individual in this place, think before any of y'all walk in, is what appears to be a young woman in a corner booth near the back of the area. She has dusk-colored skin and dark blue hair, and etched into her skin are golden symbols in geometric patterns. And when you look at her kind of just out of the corner of your eye, it almost looks like there's the outline of golden wings behind her. Who showed up first?
I imagine Sylvie gets up quite early for practice. So she would, if not first, be quite early. She enters every building as if it were a stage, with panache and grace, wearing like a bright red peacoat situation and slacks, scarf and hat and all these things. And she steps up to the bar and says, espresso, s'il vous plaît. And someone called Tegan, are they here?
Pleasure to meet you, miss. Sure. It's espresso, right? And you can see this person, they're wearing an apron. It appears to be their first day. And she is, trembling a little bit as she kind of goes to pick up a little cup, and then her hands kind of shake. And then she waves her other hand, and another cup will pick up into the air and kind of float behind her to a tool in the back. Using kind of basic hedge magic to start making your drink. It's a slow process, but she eventually is able to kind of make your espresso. Tegan, I don't. Oh, actually, I do. I remember. In the back. Her. Here. Enjoy.
Merci. And I will tip her generously, and go find Tegan.
And the woman with the dark hair and the pewter skin points towards you, Sylvie, and then I think kind of clocks Zuri coming in, and Charlie's probably next, and then
Chrissy comes in, just kind of like backs into the door, waving at somebody. I'll get you later. Turns to the bartender. Marcy? Is that you, Marcy?
Me? Yes. Yeah. How did you?
Don't worry about
before?
it. Listen, your mother left this. She said you forgot this on your way in, and he puts like a watch up on the counter. So you forgot this at home. She was gonna bring it over, but I think popped a tire. Don't worry, I fixed it for her. Luckily, I know a guy. But
you could. I thought I dropped this on the street.
No, you forgot it at home, and that's these things happen. Your mother says these things do tend to happen to you if you're not paying enough attention. So I would suggest, and I happened to meet an optometrist on the way over. He said you might have a problem with your eyes, so I would suggest going to get those checked out. And that doesn't have to be a Glen 16 in the back you have there, that new whiskey order that came in. If you could just pour me a double. And I met the owner on the street out there. His name was Marcus, and he says you could just throw that on his family tab.
I'm going to need you to roll something, either pleasant social interaction. The DC is lower, so I'll make this a 3. So you need to roll a 9 or higher.
Cool.
And I think while this was happening, like, Charlie had ordered a drink. It was given to her, and she was like going to pay, and that's when all of this conversation was starting. And so she's just sitting there like holding to pay, and then whenever Chrissy says you need to pay more attention, Charlie just turns around and goes over to the table without paying.
Fully, yep, allowing Charlie, I think, not an accident, to walk away without paying. I do have an ability that allows me to gain a useful asset for my next interaction with a creature, and it only costs 1 int, and I have an edge, so I suppose I could just do it. So I'd love to have that watch be that asset,
which will make this a challenge 2.
Can I expend an effort here? Would it be worth it to expend an effort here, or do we think
this is entirely up to you? You've reduced the challenge to a 2, which means you have to roll a 6 or higher to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is in Chrissy's soul.
I think Chrissy's just gonna let this one play out as is. So let's see here. Yeah, it's a 19. So
which is a minor effect, which means that you as the player can also introduce something else. Is there anything else you want? Is there more free stuff you want? You can add something to this moment.
I think I would like to see that Marcy has some type of pin or something that lets me know that she's involved with uh, an organization that is at least in some way connected to the group that we're after here, the Celestial Conclave? Is that something that I could see on her? I don't know. I do not want to say what her connection to it is, but at least some sort of connection here.
You can see that actually around her neck, she's wearing a single cord made of, let's say, white silk. And it's got little silver caps on either side and then a chain. And it looks like this cord could be used to add, or these caps could be used to add additional cords to this necklace that she's wearing, which only has a single one. You know that this is a necklace that people who study at the Celestial Conclave will wear. It indicates their rank in kind of, or it indicates how far they've gone in their studies. You're way nicer than my mom. She was going to kill me. And she reaches behind that bottle of very nice booze that you called out, floats up into the air. With another hand, we see a shot glass come down and a double pours out in front of you. Thank you, really. Thank you. I was really not wanting to explain to my mom how I lost this, but I didn't. So thank you.
Do not worry, Marcy. I would, this is maybe just as somebody who doesn't quite understand your situation, and please tell me if I'm overstepping my bounds. But your mother is just a good woman at heart. I think she can get frustrated sometimes when she doesn't feel like you are making the most of what you can. She told me that watch belonged to your uncle, and I think that she just really wants to make sure you're taking care of it. But hey, listen, nothing that a freshly baked cinnamon roll can't fix between you and your mother, right?
That's what Dad used to say, actually. Here's your drink. And at that moment, you hear the voice of that woman from the corner. Hey, aren't you kind of on a clock?
He takes it. And the second one for my husband, Arthur, if you would. And he turns and goes, my dear, if I was on a clock that I was at all worried about, I'm thinking of taking this time. And he's going to go and sit and let that second whiskey sit on the counter.
Sab has really outdone themselves this time around, and Tegan will look to Sylvie and Zuri and to Charlie. And meanwhile, Marcy has completely forgotten that payment is usually involved in these types of interactions. It seems that this group will drink and eat for free while you are here.
Let's go.
So welcome. I wish it was under less weird circumstances, but that's kind of their MO. Sorry.
It is not your fault, but some clarity would be appreciated, to be
Yeah,
sure.
we were told you had more info. What the hell are we doing?
Micah's been missing for 6 days, and Sab is really worried about it. And this time, they decided to take pretty drastic steps to get help.
Drastic?
Usually
I would say so.
Did they really? And Tegan actually leans forward to kind of look closer.
Yep, Zuri just sort of undoes one button just to show a little bit of it, and then...
I'm really sorry about that.
What exactly is it?
Yes.
It's a binding sigil. So yeah. So whatever Sab has you doing, it's probably in your best interest to get it done. Drastic, I know they're kind of a drama queen.
Drama queen is what the prima donna is at my theater. This is entrapment? I don't know. It is not good.
Right.
What is this Micah person anyway? I mean, is not our fault if they are decided to go away from your Sab, you say? Is their name? Is this the swirling feathers and the light?
Yep. Can't miss him. So
He's
Micah,
just picked people at random to.
they do this. Not often, I promise. Not often, but whenever the ends justify the means, it happens.
Do they have to just find 4 people that are nothing alike whatsoever, and those are we're supposed to work together? That's the plan here?
Do they not have devotees who would want to do this for them rather than random people off the street?
Tegan goes quiet for a moment and grimaces.
Do they not have people that would be happy to do this for them?
I usually help with this kind of stuff, but I'm not currently allowed to leave Old Town. Conclave is in Temple District, so I can't help.
Right. Well, who is this Micah then? What do they look like? What do they do? How do we find them? Did someone take them? Did they decide to go on vacation, not tell your friend? Like, what is I have a show. I have classes. I have things to do. I'm sure we all do. So I would like for you to give us as much information as you can so we can get this done and I can get this off of myself and we can just get on with our lives, please.
She
What'd she
grimaces
say?
again. Looks to the
Zuri is
group.
frantically writing as all of this is going on.
Micah had been working with the Conclave for a while. He'd been going over, giving them information about things that we know, kind of in exchange for looking through their records and understanding more of what they have. It was something that Sab asked him to do, and usually he'd be gone for a day or 2 and then come back. But then he was gone for 3 days, and that got me worried because that's a bit out of the ordinary. Micah usually comes back to the Pale Tower to sleep. He's usually there every day. This isn't like him, but then he went missing for a while, and I went out and tried looking for him, and I couldn't find anything. So yesterday I went to Sab and let them know that I couldn't find Micah, and then all of a sudden I'm not allowed to leave Old Town, and here you are. I'm sorry, the last day has felt like, I don't know, a month.
I guess, what is the last thing that they were meant to go find?
I don't know. I just know he'd been spending a lot of time over at the Conclave, which is usually a place that's safe for us. And when Tegan says us, you once again see the shimmer of golden wings behind them. They almost seem to manifest for a second and then go back to shimmering. And as those wings shimmer, so do those gold geometric designs on their skin, which look in a way very similar to the sigil on your chest, at least in the design and the iconography. But it's clear this is a intentional way that she's styled herself.
So how are you, like, what do you mean by you can't leave Old Town?
Sab said that they would, I'd be in trouble, essentially. I mean, I can leave. I'm not being held here against, well, not against my will. I can leave, but I've been told it's not safe and that I shouldn't leave here. This place is safe. The folks here respect what we are. They don't see us as dangerous or as potential components. So This is as good a place as any to kill a couple days.
I'm sorry.
3? Is that how much time y'all got this time?
Potential components? I'm a little hung up on that.
Yes.
Angel feathers.
So you're just that. What?
What?
What do people do to get them?
Tegan shrugs. A grim expression goes over their face, and then she looks in the direction of Temple District.
And
People like Micah disappear.
Is Micah one of you as well, then?
Micah's not as close to being touched by the Celestial as I am, but yes, Micah's a cherubim, I think, is what you would call him. And cherubim is a specific type of elf that is winged. Also exceptionally uncommon to see in this city. 1 in 1,000, 1 in 2,000.
Do you have like a map of the city or a map you could draw us of the places you've looked already, so we don't waste any time?
I spent most of it looking around the Celestial Conclave. I didn't see anything specific that I thought was an issue. I mean, I kept going back and trying to talk to people, but no one seemed to want to talk to me. I wish I could be more helpful. There's other temples in the area. I didn't feel anything strange there.
And I think, and flick back a page or two, I think, was it Sab you said? They said something about being in a place that they can't see. So what kind of places are that for someone who can just enter our dreams? Like,
they said, what was that? They said they
couldn't see Micah, I think, or something like that.
Tegan slumps back in the booth, clicks a shot glass against the table, and then downs it. Good luck. If Micah's somewhere that Sab can't get to, then no wonder they're doing this, honestly. I mean, I still don't agree with it. It's still, but I kind of get it. It means there's magic stronger than they are, preventing people from seeing the place with magic.
And they decided the best course of action was to pick 4 random people who do not necessarily... Okay, this is a choice that the deity has made. Alright, great.
Oh, Sab isn't a deity.
What is it then? Are they...
I think the term you're looking for is pretentious ass.
Look, you said it. I'm not going to disagree. But they're powerful. And everything they do is in service of the divine, of the truly divine. We haven't felt God's love in so long, and we want to feel it again. And Sab must be worried that whatever this is going to prevent that from happening. I'm really sorry.
I'm just going to look around the table and at the other 3, as well as Tegan. And this Sab is so powerful, and what can we do that they can't?
Sab is powerful, yes, but they... And Tegan slows down, very clearly choosing their words very carefully. They're powerful, yes, but they spend most of their energy on a very specific task. not much is left over for other things, frivolities, honestly, when you stack up what's important. So, SAB recruits help when it's needed, and most of the time, I'm able to help. Other members of the tower are able to help, but for whatever reason, I'm not allowed to leave Old Town, and SAB has asked you to do this.
Asked is not the word I would use.
Yeah, there wasn't really any asking. What happens if we fail?
Besides the death part of the implicit threat.
Right, do they just take 4 more people, roll, random, just throw them in, or?
Probably.
Cool.
Oh, this is great. This is beautiful. All right. You stay at the Pale Tower. Is there a way we can get in and search Micah's room? Perhaps they left a clue though where they went, or perhaps wherever they were working, we can find their work and follow them where they were going, or perhaps you have a picture. I don't even know what this person looks like we are trying to find, besides a winged elf.
You're not going to be allowed to get into the Pale Tower, but you know what I can help with? I can help with what Micah looks like. And they will just kind of wave a hand in front of herself, and a golden portrait. There, some of the kind of geometric patterns from their skin seem to lift off of her, and they seem to kind of recombine into this kind of geometric face. And you see a very handsome younger man with short hair, chopped kind of scraggly. Their hair is kind of this bright white. Their skin is very pale, and then they have a set of very white wings on their back. They're very slight with very delicate features.
Thank you. That's very helpful. That is. Can you draw too? And I just look over at Zuri. Since
I'm already in the process of like drawing,
cool.
flipping over to a spare page and copying it down as best I can.
I'm gonna look over at Chrissy. You seem to have had less stress appearing wherever we appeared. Do you have experience with this kind of thing?
Well, that's an interesting question. I find myself in a number of situations that I don't choose each and every day. They tend to work out for the better, but not always. It's not the first time somebody in power has asked me to do something. You know what's interesting is I haven't done much in my life. I've been a trucker for pretty much as long as any of y'all would care to know about what I've been up to. And it's always people like me, people like us, that people in power tend to come to when they actually need something. So, at this point, when someone comes to me with a job like this and tells me that I'll die if I don't get it done, I find myself sitting back and letting the world take me where I need to more than usual, because at the end of the day, they need me to do this more than I feel attached to my life personally.
Well, I'm pretty attached to mine, so if we could just at least all be like, all in, that would be great.
Oh, I'm ready to go. I want to make clear that whatever I can do to help y'all get this done properly, I'm more than happy to help. I guess I want y'all to hopefully understand the same way I do that SAB needs us desperately. So all we need to do is do our best, and if they're as powerful as they claim they are, they'll get the rest done for us.
Well, that's fair, but you just heard if we don't do it, they just get 4 more assholes.
Well, speak for yourself.
Apologies.
Yeah, I would not be so rude to Sylvie here. Sylvie's fantastic. By the way, Sylvie, I just wanted to say I happened to find myself standing in the back row of one of your shows recently, and I just gotta say your performance was incredible.
He's doing it again.
Hey, listen. Sorry, Charlie,
It's a
was
neat
it?
trick. How the fuck are you doing it?
Oh, sorry. It's been a while since I've had to explain myself. I tend to stumble my way into useful information. Charlie, I happen to recently find myself sitting next to somebody who had gotten a particularly rough treatment at your hands. Couldn't stop talking about you, so I put two and two together when I saw you sitting here.
Zuri just looks and goes, do me.
Oh, what's weird is you I don't have a ton of information on you. I got a name, Zuri. That's you.
Yeah.
Not much beyond that. Although, if I were to guess, you're not from around here, and that I don't mean that in the same way that I mean that when I say it about myself.
I grew up about, 4 blocks over.
Sure. Now, I just want to make clear, I have not been stalking y'all. I would not do that. I just look my way into information. Sometimes people tend to talk quite a lot around me, even though they don't seem to want to sometimes. I guess I just got one of those faces.
Apparently.
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Chris Corpus.
Got it.
I'm sorry. I may not be up to date on certain social interactions. I try to stay away from social gatherings, and I'm quite new to the city, so.
But here long enough to get your show.
Oh, well, when somebody mistakes you for somebody who reserved tickets and never showed up, you don't say no to a show with Sylvie Hayden in it, now do you?
Oh, I am starting to like you already.
What can I say?
We'll see about the rest of you.
I turn to Tegan and I say, well, you have been helpful, and it seems that you truly are upset by this situation. I'm not going to hold that against you, but I would just like to make sure that there's nothing else that you think would be helpful to us.
I'd start with the conclave. Honestly, that's where Mike has been spending a lot of time, and it's where I was trying to go, but I have a feeling. And Tegan stands up, clicking that glass on the table again, seeming to like the sound. I have a feeling you will get a bit further than I did.
I get the same feeling. Chrissy will finish the glass of whiskey. Well, as much as I'd like to sit here and get to know y'all better, unfortunately, clock ticks.
We can walk and talk if we must.
Love it.
So, to the Temple District?
I think so.
Absolument.
Before we go, I'm going to turn to the bar. Marcy, when was the last time you were up at the Celestial Conclave?
Me, and she kind of turns around. She's cleaning out a glass. I try to go every day after work, put in my hours, study. It's the only way to get another one of these. And she kind of plays with that cord around her neck.
Yes. First level. Your mother's so proud of you, by the way. She talks about it nonstop.
Do you know my mother?
I do. Well, I guess I do now. Met her on the way in this morning.
You're not maybe the person she's been going on dates with? Is that how you know so much? Or is that really, it's just
I
happenstance?
may.
Charlie
don't-
like full goes and then just sits and watches.
I don't think I've been going on dates with her, although she did seem a little bit distracted when I saw her. Somebody she seemed to be particularly nervous about meeting up with. She seemed giddy almost. Perhaps things are going well, I'm not sure. She said it was somebody else who worked at the conclave. She's somebody who was your perhaps.
Ticking clock, Chrissy. Ticking clock.
Hold on, let it. I'm just trying to have a conversation with my friend Marcy here. Your supervisor or someone above you? What was their name again?
I report into Acolyte, who's been there a little bit longer than I have.
Yeah,
Her name's Annabelle.
Annabelle. Yes, someone she knows has been going out with your mother, I imagine, but things are going quite well. Annabelle, it is. I turned to the rest of the group. Let's go off and see if we can get our hands on a friend named Annabelle.
As we are leaving, like I wait for the other three to get a little bit ahead of me because I'm finishing off my drink, and I just kind of set it down and I look at Tegan and I say, what happens if Micah found information that he wasn't supposed to find? Is our task to just find him? Or is our task to take care of whatever happened to him?
I sincerely hope nothing has happened to him. There's already so few of us, and it would break my heart. It breaks Ab's if something happened to Micah. But I think information you're not supposed to have kind of depends on who you're talking to. We have no rules against knowledge in the Pale Tower, but I don't know. Micah was smart and liked to dig. Maybe he found something he wasn't supposed to have at the conclave.
Did he delve?
I hope not. But maybe.
Great. Okay. Well, I wish I could say it was nice meeting you, but I really don't know if it was. So,
Cheers to that. Good luck.
yeah. Bye. And just turn and rush to catch up with the others.
So where are your feet telling you to go, or are we going straight there? Or perhaps we blindfold you, and the next building you walk into is the right place to go.
You know, I've never tried blindfolding myself. Arthur used to say that I should just walk up to somebody nearby and ask them where they're headed. And that way I at least have a direction where I'm going. So I would like to look for the nearest person who seems to have a purpose in where they are walking and ask them where they're headed.
Don't we have a direction?
We're going to the Celestial Conclave, right? Or is just to make sure that's where we should be heading. It's always good to double check when you're working on luck, because occasionally it's lucky for you, but very unlucky for somebody else. So I will walk up, just somebody who's walking with purpose.
Can I help you?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Just wanted to let you know your back pocket is ripped open. Your wallet's about to fall out.
Thank you. And this person wearing a finely tailored suit will kind of reach back, and instead of tucking their wallet back in, he will instead remove it and put it in the front of his jacket and actually just walk away.
I go, I'm so sorry. You don't happen to be headed anywhere, are you?
This person is gone.
Great.
Charlie starts soul tapping.
Oh, do not worry. This is quite good for us. I start walking in that guy's direction.
So is our goal here to have luck take us somewhere?
I think so. Yeah.
Roll me something related to luck.
Yeah.
I have something specific in mind. This will be a challenge 6.
Okay, cool. Uh, I will uh put an effort on that. So bring it down to a 5. Uh, and then my hope is that we are headed somewhere that's going to make this whole process easier for us. So I am going to spend from my luck pool as well to lower that down to a 4.
Cool.
Ooh.
This luck pool is a very cool mechanic that's specific to Chrissy and this character that's been built.
Yeah.
So you have a challenge 4. I need a dice roll of a 12 or higher.
I did want to ask whether, I mean, like anticipation says, you look ahead to how your actions might unfold on the first task you perform. So does that restrict it? Can I use that in any way to
I
aid
will
someone
absolutely
else?
allow in combat, that would only apply to you, but since this is the entire group working together to go somewhere in town, I will absolutely allow you to have that provide an asset on Chrissy's luck roll.
Yeah. It's all luck, baby. I just saw Lucky and I was like, cool, that's my character now.
So you just see, like as you're sort of following this guy, I'll just kind of sidle up alongside you and kind of, almost look like I'm almost for just a second, just kind of look like I'm gazing off into the distance and not focused on anything, but also focused on everything at once. And then just kind of just put a little bit of a, yep, done that way.
And I got a 12 on that roll.
That's beautiful. You needed to beat a challenge 3, which is a roll of a 9. So, this man with the well-tailored suit, he is patting his wallet, which has been moved up to the front of his clothing, is walking about 20 paces ahead, and he doesn't seem to notice that the group is coming after you. But you begin to follow him. It's not particularly difficult because he's not trying to give you the slip, but the streets are very busy, as they typically are. But first, as you're walking, Zuri, I will offer you a experience point. For
Sure.
a GM intrusion.
Yeah.
So you can
go for
mark
it.
1 XP on your sheet.
Mm-hmm.
How does it typically feel when Zuri peers into different possibilities?
There's probably a little essence of vertigo that's always been there, even though this is something that he's probably in some way become familiar with throughout time. There's always just this sort of moment where it becomes a little bit of a blur, and it's like the kind of possibilities in front kind of just overwhelm their vision for just that moment, and probably not quite a blackout, but everything kind of blurs. The world kind of feels like it's spinning a bit.
Usually, that feeling subsides pretty quick. But this time, that swirling continues. It's like you're moving forward and the swirling is like kind of crashing down towards the ground, and it's really difficult to stay upright. I need a challenge 6 intellect defense roll.
Oh.
So if you're trained in intellect defense, this would go down, or if you want to apply effort, it would also bring this down. But as it stands, this is a very difficult roll.
I will apply effort. And that's a 5.
So it's not terrible. You only beat a challenge 2. You needed to beat a challenge 5. In this case, the difference between those is a 3. So you will take 3 points of damage directly to your intellect pool as you stagger to the side. But you realize something as this is happening. That sickness seems to cling to you. It's almost as if it's not you that's sick. It's time. Time feels sick. And it's clinging to you. It hurts, and you feel a burn on your chest, that place where the sigil is.
You just stumble a little, and reach out to, like whoever's nearest to just try and steady.
Hey, you okay? What's happening right now? You gonna puke?
Just, I don't think so, but
Okay. Hey, wait up. You good?
do I see anything? Is there anything sort of standing out that I notice,
No, it's just this lingering feeling that something is wrong with time, and it's something that your senses kind of became opened to when you looked at this. You don't get the sense that this will happen every time you attempt to use your abilities. It's more that this overwhelming initial wave of nausea just kind of knocked you out, because it has never felt like this before.
and would I maybe sense that potentially has possibility to do with, things like someone going missing and not being able to be seen by, if someone
Entirely
was
possible.
That's all right. I think I feel like something's not 100% right, but I need to process it.
Does this happen a lot?
No. This is new.
Cool. I don't know if that's a good
It's,
thing or a bad thing.
Neither do I, but
While this situation is happening, I will say to Chrissy, should I distract the gentleman to slow down so that we can continue to follow, or is this part of the whatever it is that you do that we are losing him?
When I look around, does it seem like just does it seem like we are in the right place as of right now, or does it seem like I should can I like intuit from my years of following luck to various points?
Your timing is pretty impeccable. As you walk, you find yourself going down the path that leads from Old Town into Midtown. You take kind of a sharp decline into the heart of the city, where you see mages on broomsticks flying ahead, and you see a older gentleman walking down the street having a rather rousing discussion of some kind with a bear who just seems to be roaring in his face. But he is speaking back very calmly in response to the bear, and they seem to have a perfect understanding. And as you continue to make your way through Midtown, where no one really bats an eye at this kind of interaction, because this is Tullus, and strange things are, well, normal things here. And then you turn north and you begin to head across the Blessed Bridge that leads from Midtown into Temple District. And you find yourself starting to walk your way down down the street of a million gods, at the very, very end of which is where the Celestial Conclave, or at least some of you know, this is where the Celestial Conclave is located. You see marble pillars and large statues. You smell incense. You see people doing rituals, dancing, speaking, proselytizing all over the streets. You see worshipers and acolytes and individuals who follow hundreds of different gods in this stretch. And you see that man with the well-tailored suit continuing down the street. And at some point, another individual joins him. And this person is wearing work clothes, think coveralls. And they continue walking and they end up turning down another street and then down another street. Once again, he's not looking towards you, but for some reason, Chrissy seems to be able to stop the group when there's moments where a little bit of distance needs to be put. And then you see the man stop. And so does the other person standing next to them in these work clothes. They've stopped in front of a hole in the ground. There's kind of a sweet, sickly stench that comes up from the hole, and you can see there's a pallet with bricks on it, and there's other kind of work tools and equipment, and they're looking at a hole that's been roped off. It appears this is an opening into the sewers, and these two are talking with one another about it.
No, Sylvia, I think we're right about where we need to be. I look back at Zuri. Zuri, do you need time or are you ready to move forward?
Am I still feeling woozy, or has it sort of, as we've walked, kind of settled back into normality?
I'll leave that up to you. You feel fine. You've kind of taken the damage. But if you focus on it, you can definitely bring back those kind of nausea feelings.
In that case, then, sort of, as we're sort of, as we've been walking down this, walking and following, I'll probably have used that opportunity to sort of like take a few deep breaths, and then it's not the same as what you seem to be possessing, Chrissy, but throughout my life, I've had this sort of, I guess you'd call it a gift, that kind of just allows me to see the opportunities that are ahead and pick the best one. My dad kind of says that it's to do with time manipulation, and I don't know, it doesn't normally impact me like that. It's always a little bit of vertigo, but I don't know, it feels like there's something bigger going on, that it's not a me thing so much as it is the world around us.
I turn to Charlie and say, "And what is your thing?" "I am a dancer. Sometimes I fight, but I am a dancer. What makes you special? These two clearly have gifts."
In that like long of thinking, we just have like this little flashback of Charlie being thrown out of bar after bar after bar after bar, throwing like punch after punch after punch. I delve. I'm really good underground, and I'm really good at finding things.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it. It's not, yeah.
Well, we are looking for something.
We're looking for a person,
Yeah.
okay? That's not really my area of expertise.
Sewer opening.
Yeah, I see that. Are we ready to take the nauseous person into the sewer? Or
do we really have to? Is that where your luck is saying we have to go? That
doesn't seem very lucky.
He does seem to be at least investigating the sewer hole. I listen, I'm no happier than the rest of y'all are. I just want to make clear that everything I can do is pointing me towards.
I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but underneath the city is all sorts of things. Like, it's not just sewers down there. It's, I don't know what else you've heard, but I mean, wouldn't be expecting just a sewer under any hole in the streets in this place.
Right.
Well, you know what they say. When there's a hole in the ground, a city official should be on their way. And Chrissy starts walking up.
Definitely. I've never heard that saying before.
It's a classic saying. It's a very classic saying. We've all heard it 1,000 times.
Right. I look down at my outfit and look over at the hole and follow.
So as you approach this gentleman in the nice clothes and the worker, once again, you kind of catch the beginning or the kind of the tail end of a conversation. I thought the bricks were supposed to be shipped here by now because this is a eyesore and I need it fixed. And the worker responds back, I know, but it is hard to procure goods. There's a lot of different openings. You know what happened in South Market last month. So that's kind of, and you hear them kind of going back and forth, discussing what appears to be a supply chain issue and a series of excuses and annoyances at why this is still open.
I'd like to walk up and I'd like to and say, hi, my name is Chrissy Corpus. I'm from Councilman Todrick's office, and put my hand out. And I'd like to use the ability Spin Identity, which is people just believe who I say I am. And I can spend intellect to just have people believe who I say I am. So just put my, hey, how's it going? And if you could just explain to me what's going on here, because the councilman is quite curious as to what's happening here.
The man with the well-tailored suit turns around and grimaces at first, seeming to recognize you from earlier. But then you mention a name that he's actually familiar with, and he straightens up a little bit.
As he does, I go, oh, good to see you again, I suppose.
Thanks for the tip. And he pats the wallet in his pocket. This should be done. And he gives a nod towards the worker next to him in the week.
And what exactly happened here, just so we're all on the same page here? The councilman is quite confused.
This was, it was in the papers a couple of weeks ago. This was another boiling point where the turf war between the Killraven Crime League and the Balakazars boiled over, we'll say, causing a lot of damage like this around the city. And that is why it has taken so long for it to get fixed, but we are working on it.
This is my team. We're just here checking out the area, making sure that everything is in ship shape. We wouldn't want anything further hindering this already hindered process. And your name is?
Your team?
My team. He points back to this eclectic crew standing behind him. Anybody can work in government.
No, don't get me started with my opinions there. But Wraith Freegan, it's nice to meet you and your associates.
My team, you understand. Now,
your team.
Wraith, I appreciate you doing what you can to take care of this. I'd really appreciate if, I believe the councilman put it as, you could stop stepping in it and put your foot down where it'd be useful.
Are you suggesting I go focus on another assignment?
I think just as the councilman seems to see it, you could be putting in a lot better effort here. But if you're not going to, you may as well move on. It's not just this fella's fault that this hasn't been progressing, and I think you know that just as well as I do.
I will send my regards to the office when I make my way back.
I think that'd be a good call. He likes begonias.
I'm in your debt.
Right, you are. My team and I are headed to the Celestial Conclave to check in with some folks there, just to see if we can get any more information on this. If you need me, and I imagine you might, you can find me there.
He nods, kind of dark hair flopping in front of his eyes as he scowls with very sharp features. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And I will nod to the worker here and I say, doing a great job out here. Appreciate all you do.
You know what? Thank you. I really appreciate that. He is a dick.
Yeah, he's a huge piece of shit, let me tell you.
And I don't care if you can hear me.
Oh.
This person shouts as his very finely polished boots click against cobblestones, making his way towards Old Town, actually.
I'd say, hey, listen, that guy, don't even listen to him. If you get a chance and you find yourself anywhere near a library, I'd like you to go look up records on party incidents in the last 10 or so years, and you'll find that this fella has his own issues and demons he's running from. So I wouldn't take him too seriously.
That is good to know. But I do have a question for all of you, and this is where I will actually offer the entire table an experience point. So this is where if everyone is cool with it, everyone gets an experience point.
Absolutely.
I'll take
it. That's totally fine.
With one-shot characters, you ride them like you stole them.
You did.
Did we start with one?
You started with one, so everyone should have 2, except for Zuri, who currently has 3. And once again, you can use those for rerolls or for intrusions for the player intrusion. So you've all accepted this GM intrusion, at which point this worker who is in the coveralls, you can see now she's got pointed ears and dark skin and big curly hair, and she is just absolutely ripped, which makes sense for someone who clearly does manual labor as a part of their day job. What is Sylvie Hayden doing? Working on sewer jobs? I don't know who you are, but you do not work in government. And
No.
She points towards Charlie and then points towards the wraps on her hands that I believe have dried blood in them. You do not look like the type who goes into an office every day, even to get orders, if I'm being perfectly honest. And
I don't think I've ever been in an office.
See, that makes sense for the way you carry yourself. And then you, and she looks at Zuri. You are so young. What are you doing with these freaks?
Whoa.
Excuse me, what?
Internship.
Wait a minute.
I'm doing an internship with the counselor.
Councilman Taldrick.
Councilman Taldrick. And pull out my notebook and, be continuing to take notes.
Right.
I'm the muscle.
All right.
Researching a role. And I mean, to be fair, I gesture at Charlie. You would be surprised how many people recognize me in the street. It can get unruly.
I mean, your alibi makes the most sense of everyone so far. I mean, don't get me wrong. You gave him a really bad day, and he's going to go talk to someone who does exist about someone who I don't think does.
Not at all, no.
And his day's going to get worse, and I like that because he is a real piece of work.
Oh, if I understand things correctly, he's about to walk into an office claiming he was talked to by somebody who doesn't exist, and they are going to get rather confused, and I think his role in the city is going to be questioned rather heavily over the next 24 hours.
And I am going to go look in that book you suggested, because even though I think you're pretty full of shit, I think there might be something to this. But what are you doing here? This is a hole in the ground. You don't want any business with this. It's dangerous down there. And I really do need to get it sealed up.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, we're not here to stop you. We're actually looking for somebody. We're actually headed to the Celestial Conclave. We happen to be looking for somebody named Micah. You haven't heard that name before.
I don't know a Micah, but if you're looking for someone, perhaps they don't want to be found? I don't know, just a guess.
You know, that's particularly interesting. I would like to use an XP and use one of my player intrusions, perfect suggestion, which is an already friendly NPC suggests a course of action with regards to an urgent question, problem, or obstacle. And I say, now, if you were looking for this person, and I give a description of Micah, and I say, where might you look?
Zuri has a drawing too.
Oh, great, Zuri. If you don't happen to
Yeah, flip open to the page where I've, sketched down the copy of Micah's.
I mean, they look pretty fancy. If I was getting involved in, I mean, I've done a few. Oh my God, that is the wrong accent because
it's all right. Listen,
Winnie, what are you doing here?
It's infectious. You understand? It's infectious. It happens to be quite a lot. My ex-husband, he was from up north, and by the time I had spoken to him for about an hour, he was from Mississippi.
Oh man. So if I were to be, I mean, this person in the picture looks very fancy, probably not the kind of person I would be looking for. I've done a few search and rescues, people who think they're real clever go down in the sewers, and people who sometimes get lost in the dungeons try to exit through the sewers and get to the top, but there's way fewer openings than most people think there are. And every once in a while, things are built really good. It's sturdy down there, but sometimes collapses do happen. So, I mean, if I'm looking for someone, it is down there in that hole, and I'm pretty good at it, but I don't think any of you, I mean, maybe, and she gestures towards Charlie, maybe she has business going down there, but I don't know about the rest of you.
Charlie looks way too proud.
I go, oh, yeah, there's nobody I'd rather trust to lead us down there than Charlie. I gesture towards the hole to Charlie.
Well, we're going down there?
Seems to me that this fella seems to think that we need to go looking for our good friend Micah.
To the person, I'll say, I'm sorry, I did not catch your name.
Oh, it is Amelia.
Amelia. Perhaps our friend Zelia has a notebook. Perhaps there is a map you can draw for us to make sure that we do not get terribly lost. And perhaps if you put down your address, I can send you a note and take you for coffee afterwards.
Coffee with the famous Sylvie?
Maybe?
All right, sure, I'll take it. And she'll gesture towards Suri's book. And pretty quickly, Amelia, she will draw out a rudimentary map. First, she kind of draws the main two streets that run through Temple District, and then she draws a pretty uniform grid. The sewer system is actually very, very well built and well maintained throughout Tullis. So even though this opening has been here for a while, there's also been a lot of damage done to different parts of the city, given kind of the current political climate. So first we see the two main streets, and then she draws out a sewer grid. And you can see that there are pretty much sewers running underneath almost all of the city. And you see the kind of grid that runs underneath the Street of a Million Gods, including all the temples you walked past and up towards the Celestial Conclave. And then she'll draw a couple of circles on the map of different exposed parts of the sewers. Now, none of these are supposed to be open, but these are other damage. that's been done recently. So this might be bricked up by the time, I don't know, if you take too long, it could be bricked up. I'm pretty good at what I do, despite what that guy might say, but these other spots should be open.
Fantastic. Thank you, Amelia.
Are any of those other spots closer to the Celestial Conclave than where we already are, or?
Looking at the map, no. You are pretty close, though. If you were looking kind of at a streetwise view, it's only about 2 blocks away from, or 2 streets rather, over from the conclave. The next closest is, 5 blocks, 6 blocks away.
So if someone wanted to enter, like, from the conclave, this would be the place to do so.
That appears to be true.
If I were to guess, Micah left the conclave and headed right down. We can obviously go check the conclave if people feel like that would be useful, or we can head right down.
It seems that we have gotten lucky so far. And I'll smile just a little bit at Amelia. Perhaps we start here and pop back up later if that's nothing interesting.
Amelia will wink at Sylvie and then turn and go. It seems that she's going to take a bit of a break before getting to work, maybe give y'all a bit more time.
Yeah, damn worker solidarity. So good.
Charlie just looks at everybody, does a little salute, and will climb into the hole.
Is it like ladder situation, or is it just like jump in?
Unfortunately, because this is kind of a hole that's been blown in the street, this is a jump in situation.
Zuri will jump in behind Charlie.
Charlie's like standing at the bottom, ready to kind of like help anybody with the landing if they need it.
I will look down the hole and say, "Is there anything that is going to splash when I jump?"
No.
Your lying is terrible, and I will jump down, and it is probably surprisingly graceful, or perhaps not, considering what I do.
I will turn over to the side, and I will grab a very convenient ladder, and I will lower it into the hole, and I will calmly climb down into the hole.
Once you get down to the bottom, Charlie just has the straightest face and says, "I don't like you." And then turns
Chrissy, I love you too, kid.
Yeah.
Lead the way.
Charlie,
Yes.
you've been in the sewers before. This is a common way to start a delve, because not every delve starts in Delver's Square at the giant staircase. Many start at other points throughout town because they might have easier access to other parts of the dungeon. So this would not be unfamiliar territory to you. This part of the sewers is actually rather large and spacious. It's about 10 feet across with a dry walkway on either side, and then a channel in the bottom where predominantly rainwater goes. Still smells, still reeks down here, but as far as things could go, if you had to pick a city in the Empire to be in the sewers of, these are the nicest ones around. So you are in a stretch where you've got a couple of different directions you could go. One, and based off of that map, you can kind of see, one direction leads kind of to where the enclave is, or the conclave is, and then others lead to other parts of Temple District. One thing I will note, it is pretty dark down here. Right where you have the hole, there is light, and you kind of see some grates every once in a while to allow light into this, but it is dark down here.
I think as we're walking, just kind of making little conversation, I'm like, you're lucky. These are the good ones. And I just glance over at Sylvie and then motion to the dry walkways.
Fantastic. Let us hope we do not bump into the bad ones.
Does Zuri have the map, or
Yeah, I've got the book open, trying to sort of track and go. Okay, look at where we are, and trying to track and go. Okay, so Celestial Conclave is up there, and kind of just give us a bit of a guidance as to which is that what we're looking for? Or are we just kind of exploring to see if we can find? And then I'll look back at Chrissy and whatever luck brings us.
Ain't that just the way? For me and the people nearest to me physically. That's how that works, by the way. If you walk too far away from me, this will no longer work. So please do stay close.
Okay. So I show you the map, and like, any suggestion?
There is a deep part of me that would love to be able to say that I know my way around here. But I think, Charlie, if you want to just walk in a direction that feels particularly powerful for you, wherever the spirit moves you, as it were, I think we'll head in just about the right direction.
I know you haven't known me for very long, but I'm not really a lucky person. I wouldn't trust where my feet take me.
So maybe walk in the opposite direction of where you think you want to go?
That's an excellent idea.
Could I spend an experience point to get a serendipitous landmark?
Yes.
Get ready for my new D&D character, Serendipitous Landmark.
Is there anything specific you're looking for, or is the goal you're trying to kind of find the way to go to help you find Micah?
Yeah, I mean, hypothetically, maybe Micah dropped a notebook or a handkerchief with his initials embroidered on it, or there's a bloody handprint somewhere that seems to be about the right size and shape for an elf with wings, or feathers. I don't know.
Feathers,
Something
I would love.
You know, like a 4-way stop, but like clearly went in one direction, like that sort of thing, is sort of what I'm thinking.
A big glowing trail that says
A big
Micah
neon
was
sign.
here.
Yeah.
A waypoint.
Yeah. The little exclamation point on our nav thing at the
There
top
you go.
starts to glow.
So, Sylvie, you are looking for something that strikes your eye or that stands out from what you're seeing kind of down here in the muck. You see some trash, you see kind of normal refuse, you see a little pink tail skitter off into the distance. You hear some kind of the trickling of water kind of around. But as you're looking, you see a cord, and it's made of purple cotton, and it's kind of maybe 10 paces in front. It's bright in color and stands out from the dark gray stone of the sewer system. I
think functionally it's more that she is looking down as to not step in as little stuff as possible, and happens to notice a pretty thing that does not belong down here.
And this thing is the exact same breeding style and is the exact same kind of width and length as that cord that you saw hanging around the neck of Marcia at the pointy hat.
I will pull a dagger out of my knee-high boot and very gently lift the thing out of the muck and not touch it. Well, it looks like at least someone has come through here that is of the conclave. Perhaps is Micah's. Does someone want to take it for evidence? I do not want to touch it.
If no one else reaches out, Charlie will just grab it and like pocket it.
Wonderful. I'll take out a handkerchief and clean my blade and stick it back in my boot.
All right, so this path it is then.
Absolument.
As you start to follow this path, because you spent an experience point on this, you see another one. This one's made of silk. It is gold, and it seems to be pointing you. You see it at a fork in the sewers. It's at a point that is actually leading you away from the conclave. You have the conclave at your back, and you seem to be moving south. You have to kind of zigzag through these sewers. They don't quite run on a north-south grid. And you're also getting very close to a gorge in the city. So the sewers seem to have been very specifically designed in order to not ruin the integrity of kind of this edge of the city. But you find one, and then you find another made of linen. This one is green. And once again, it seems to point you towards the correct path when you come to a branch. And you're getting closer towards kind of the southern edge of Temple District. And that is when you hear a scream.
Oh. Wait.
Is it
Seems
like
to be-
too? I was gonna ask, yeah, is it too echoey to tell where it's coming from, or can we like pinpoint a direction?
Charlie, because of your experience delving, I'll let you roll something to try and dial in on where it's coming from. It is faint to hear a higher pitched voice go, help me, off, but it echoes over and over again.
Okay, so probably some sort of intellect.
Anything related to tracking or anything related to searching for something or listening, this will be a challenge 4. And yes, intellect.
Okay. I rolled a 13 on my die.
Then you're good. That beats a challenge 4. So you've heard echoing calls in the dungeons because when delvers are down, if a delver runs into a problem, it's customary for them to shout or to ask for help. And you listen and you wait and you kind of count to yourself to see how many echoes happened after that voice. And if there's a certain number of echoes, you know you're close enough to get to that person to go and try to help. If it's too long, you know that person isn't someone you can help. Fortunately, in this case, only a couple of echoes. They're close enough that you can get there very quickly and you know which direction to go. It's just a couple of turns in front of you. And sure enough, you see another one of those cords in the ground. This one, though, is kind of covered in muck. It's very dark in its color. It's a dark brown, so it would have been very difficult to see had you not been able to figure out the way. What is everyone doing as you kind of move towards this sound?
Yeah, I definitely shout, keep up, and I just go as quickly as I can.
I would have been, to this point at least, have been tracking on the map as well, kind of just marking a secondary line across to go, okay, so are we still on the map that Amelia drew, or have we stretched beyond?
You've gone just past the map, so you have a general sense of where you are, but Amelia did not expect for you to be going this far south or this far outside of the band of that specific hole.
That's what I thought. So I'm going to be kind of shorthanding and trying to sort of, at least give some sort of like left-right kind of traction to be able to kind of at least hopefully be able to keep track of where we're going. But as we start to run, it's kind of like just keeping track of it in my mind until we hopefully have a stopping point again to try and jot those extra couple of notes down.
Yeah, Chrissy's having a hard time keeping up, but is gonna go ahead and follow. I think also he's having a little bit of anxiety about people getting too far away from him, and he knows that his luck doesn't extend that far, so he's trying his best to keep up.
I'm just fast.
Well, la-dee-da.
As the group follows the sound, it gets louder and louder. It's clearly a woman's voice. Get off of me. And then you round the corner and you see that this woman, she looks kind of tired. She is holding kind of the remnants of a necklace in her hands. All that's remaining is this golden chain holding two caps to each other. There are no more loops of thread left on this. She is wearing the white and gold robes of the Celestial Conclave, and she is being dragged along by someone wearing very dark blue robes. Their face is obscured by a dark mask, and this person is grabbing onto her clothes and is just dragging her through the sewers. She is making an enormous amount of noise, but none of that seems to be making it up to the sewers. You seem to be the only people who are hearing this, and she is just struggling against this other person, going, you can't stop. They'll find out. They'll look for me. They will. And then she looks to you. Help, please.
I am sprinting as fast as I can.
Everyone roll initiative.
Me.
You have one action. That's it. You either move or you do an action. That's it. Your action can be I attack with my XYZ weapon, or I use an ability. Any of your abilities labeled action are something you can do as one action in combat. That's kind of it. I'm about to basically this individual in the blue cape, you will kind of know how their challenge rating, that will be a static number throughout the fight, unless someone does something to change that number. So it's like, you'll know, oh, if I want to attack them, that's a challenge X to hit them. If you hit them with a spell or with a weapon, weapons do standard damage based off of if they're light, medium, or heavy. Or your spell will just say how much damage it does. That's it.
One of Chrissy's abilities is Infectious Luck, which allows everybody to ease one task for free each day. So since we're about to go into a situation where people's skills are going to be particularly useful and may want to up that to the highest potential, I will let everybody know that they have that for once during the session. So there's definitely that. I can also do some stuff to defend everybody, but I think defense will probably be fine. But just let me know if that is something people feel like they need. Because other than that, I will not be much use in this fight.
Defense was going to be fine until you said defense is going to be fine.
Oh, fuck. Damn it. Oh, now we're all going to die.
Rolling initiative, which in the Cypher system is a speed task. So roll a speed roll. If you are trained in initiative, you basically get to whatever you rolled, divide it by 3. That's the level you beat. But if you're trained in it, you can increase that by 1. So this works out well. Charlie and Sylvie, you will be going before the individual in the blue robe. And then Zuri and Chrissy, you will go. And then finally, our woman with the necklace will go. So first, we will start with Charlie, because Charlie rolled a 19, which in the Cypher system gives a minor effect. At the beginning of combat, a couple of things you could do is either immediately take a move action to close with the individual. I'd say y'all are all kind of one move action away from the woman and the robed figure. You could also potentially get an extra attack kind of right before things actually pop off, kind of treat it like a secret surprise round. Those are a couple of suggestions. I'll leave it up to you for what you want.
Yeah, I think like sprinting up and closing that gap, and then using that minor effect to my goal is to get her out of his grasp. So if I can do that just by like slamming into, like continuing that speed and just slamming into this masked figure, not necessarily going for like a tackle or a grapple, but just using my body to just slam into the person.
Yeah, so this person seems to be really wrapped up in dealing with the woman. They do not see you coming. Give me a might attack roll as you try to slam into them.
I'm so afraid I used my good roll for initiative.
This will be a
Okay.
challenge 4.
Okay. I rolled a 15, which beats it.
Which does. How do you collide into this figure?
Sprinting forward, I'm staying on the like the dry path so that I'm not making too much noise because he does seem really distracted. So I'm staying on the dry path, sprinting as fast as I can. And once I get up closer to him, my foot goes up on the side of the wall and I kick off of that to just launch. And I'm launching myself, slamming into him full body, like shoulder into him to hopefully like slam him up against the wall on the other side.
As you do, they get absolutely pushed. Their hold on the woman relinquishes, and she's able to actually, she was pulling really hard against their grasp, and so she's going to fall down. But as you push them into the wall, this mask that they're wearing comes off. You see this person has bright eyes and dark hair, and this woman is actually sneering back at you as her blue robe becomes kind of disheveled. You will regret this.
Right.
This figure, now that you've gotten a little bit more to see of them, this woman has long dark hair. It's braided off to the side. She's wearing a blue robe. She looks very fit.
Right. So in that case, Sylvie will also close the distance, and kind of use the wall as a push-off point, almost like a wrestler might use the bar to kind of build up motion, and try to get a leg underneath this person, so that they slam into the ground.
Give me this sounds maybe like a speed attack roll because of your approach to it.
Mhm.
Okay, so give me a speed attack. Challenge 4.
I rolled a 16 on the die, which is 5.
That is going to do it. So how much damage would you do with like your normal weapon?
2? Yeah. So
What
dagger,
kind of
rapier.
weapon is it?
It's a dagger.
We'll say so 2 with your dagger. So first, Charlie's attack did 6 as they just slammed her entire body up against this person. You come in, do another 2, and now this woman is sprawled out onto the ground. We can see that she is wearing a kind of shawl underneath this robe, and it is covered in strange symbols. The most peculiar, the most repeated symbol that we see on this sash is a snake. And then we see a swirl, and then another snake. And then we see a weird arrow that points out in 12 directions, and then another snake. And she snarls up at you. This might look good for you now, but not for long. And then that brings us to her turn. She kind of on the ground tries to lunge towards the woman, the acolyte who was dropped, realizes that she is pretty sufficiently pinned into place by Charlie and Sylvie, in which case she will then pull out a dagger from each of her sides. The daggers gleam with a hint of green. And at this moment, you see a flash of the daggers, and she's going to try to slice through both of you. I need a challenge for speed defense roll.
I'm skilled in that, so that makes it 1 less difficulty. Is that correct?
That is correct. So you only need to beat challenge 3.
I rolled a 15 again,
Thank
and I'm
God.
pretty sure that.
Yeah, I rolled an 11, so I did in fact hit the 3.
Very good. So, but that blade only whistles through air, and she actually looks a bit confused for a moment. It seems rare that these daggers do not find their mark, and as they zip through the air, you see these drops coming off the tip of the blade, and there's this kind of nasty Icarus smell in the air. Next up, Zuri and Chrissy. Whoever wants to go first can go first.
Zuri is going to run forward, and seeing sort of Charlie and Sylvie start to engage with this person or this robed figure, is going to try and kind of just step in front of and try and take position in front of the woman who was being dragged along. And movement is just is one action, is that right? So
yes.
Can I therefore use one of my experience points to actually have a second action?
I love it. Yes, absolutely.
And I'm going to use use my block. So I'm going to spend 3 speed points to use my block ability, which automatically blocks the next melee attack made against you within the next minute. In there.
Incredible. What does that look like as maybe the sheen of magic comes around you?
So yeah, it's more, I guess there's more kind of a little bit of like the Zuri sort of mentioned about having that kind of ability to manipulate time in little sort of waves. And even though he's a little bit nervous given what just happened only, half hour ago, whatever it happened to be, is just going to sit there. And so there's kind of this sort of it's almost like it's just slightly out of focus in position. So sort of puts an arm over this person, and then there's this kind of just ever so slight blur that comes between that comes over anyone looking at them in that time zone.
Very cool. Chrissy.
Yeah, I'd like to go up to this woman that was being dragged and going, "I'm so sorry, ma'am. Everything all right with you?" And that's my action. It's just to go up and check in with her.
Which brings us to her turn. She is kind of trying to pick herself up, but she looks very, very woozy, and you can see that there's a couple of cuts on her body that seem to have some kind of green ichor around them, and she kind of holds her head and will kind of lean heavily on you, just kind of reaching up to try to scramble to her feet. Better now. I think better now. Oh gosh. How did, you know what? I don't care. Praise all the gods of knowledge, praise all the gods of luck that you're here. Oh my gosh, Zuri, is that you? And this woman with dark hair wearing these acolyte robes just kind of looks at Zuri, who's rushed forward, and you see someone that you recognize. This is Annabelle. A little bit older than the last time you saw her, but
just a little bit. Takes a second, and takes Zuri a second to kind of process, and looks. What? Annabelle?
It's good to see you. You know what? Now's not the time, but it's good to see you.
Yeah. I'll look back over my shoulder and see.
And then you'll see Charlie or Sylvie doing something. You have this, once again, the figure in the blue robe. She has her daggers out. She's been hit. She is wounded, but not out for the count.
I think there's a moment where Charlie and Sylvie are both looking at the stuff that's dripping off of these knives, and there's this no moment, and Charlie just turns towards Sylvie and is like, I don't want to talk about what's about to happen, and holds up her hands in a almost dance fashion, and I will help Sylvie with her next attack.
Sylvie laughs
and says, "Perhaps I'll have to get you free tickets next time," and starts to use Charlie's body to spin faster and faster until the pirouette she has turned her foot impacts with the face of this person quite hard. As I use absorb kinetic energy and release energy. I'd want to use that to build and build and build and kick, basically.
Excellent. This is a challenge 4, but I believe because of Charlie's help, it's only a challenge 3.
Can I use an XP to succeed on that? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Or to reroll.
Yeah. Okay.
I need a 9 or higher on that die.
Can you spend from your pool to succeed?
That is true. If you were within 3 of the roll, you could use a level of effort to push, basically to increase your success by 1 level. You did beat a challenge 2. Okay.
Oh no, not even close, my friends. So I use it to re-roll, not to succeed.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that got me to 2, so now I can use effort to succeed.
Yes. So since this was a speed attack, it costs 3 points to apply effort. If you have edge in speed, that will reduce it to 2 points from your speed pool. How does it look as you connect your foot with her body?
There is a shattering of jaw. And as she concludes the spin, you notice that the heel of her boot, because they are high heel stilettos, are stilettos more literally, not just pointed.
This woman she almost like lifts up into the air and kind of spins around from the impact of the kick. And we see this terrible slice across her face. And you hear kind of a click in her mouth as she tries to open to say something, but her jaw then goes a little bit slack from how forceful this was. Yikes. Next up is this woman, and what she is going to do is, once again, even from this position on her back, she is going to once again try to actually slice at your ankles. This is going to be another slice on Charlie, another slice on Sylvia. I need challenge 4 speed defense rolls.
That was a success.
I'm gonna spend effort to roll again.
Okay. So you're spending experience point
yes,
for
yes,
reroll.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Oh, that is so much better.
Challenge 4.
Challenge 4. I rolled a 14. I don't know if that does it. Does that do it?
So once again, maybe as kind of she tries to kind of like she like shoves her face against your shoulder to click her jaw back into place, and as she does that, her knife swings once again go sideways and open. That takes us to Zuri and Chrissy. Whoever would like to go first.
And Zuri's kind of just at this stage, just kind of in shock more than anything. So, if anything, I'm going to try and just sort of see if I've got anything. I don't think I've got anything on hand, but maybe just tear my shirt a little bit to try and put some binding on the wounds that she's got.
She will hold out, kind of like stick out a leg. She's kind of tries to scoot away, taking support from Chrissy that she can get. Gosh, Zuri, you are just as nice as I remember. Thank you.
I think last time I saw you, I was saving you too.
Worked out for me good then. Seems like it's working out this time too.
And that's my action, is just to sort of try and bind her wounds a little bit and try and apply whatever healing I can as a non-healer.
Chrissy.
Yeah, I will I would like to just kind of prop Annabelle up and say, and you so interesting. Earlier today I met somebody who I think happens to know you, of all things.
All right.
Marcy, you know Marcy? She's a barista and a bartender, which is an incredible duo. Uh, no need to worry about it. I just thought I'd mention it. Uh,
She prefers the term barista.
barista. I love that. I love that. I will look out into the scene here. It's really just Sylvie and Charlie, and they're just beat the shit out of this dude, right? Okay. Then I would like to yell to them. Now, don't kill them just yet, because I would like to ask them a couple of questions. And I would suggest giving up now, because the fact that I have to warn these folks not to kill you should be a threat in and of itself. And can I intimidate this person?
Yes. Challenge 4. And if you succeed, it will make it easier to defend against her next round of attacks.
Dope. 15.
That
Is that
will
enough?
do it.
Let's go. Let's go. I am shockingly spooky for a kind old Southern man. And there's like a flash that goes across my eyes.
What you see in the assailant's face is a recounting of the number of people who are here and a recognition that the odds of her success have changed quite a bit in the last 15 seconds. Next up, Charlie and Sylvie.
Can I try to disarm her?
Absolutely.
Cool.
This would be a might task. This would be a might task, and it's going to be, it's 2 steps more difficult than a normal attack. So it's normally a challenge 4. This is going to be a challenge 6, but what I will allow is that you'd be able to get rid of both daggers.
Ooh. Okay. So challenge 6, I have to get like an 18, right?
And this is where I will remind you that I believe Chrissy brought up that they give some good luck to the group in the form of, I believe it's a asset on any roll of your choosing at one time during the session.
Yeah, and that brings it down a difficulty.
That'll make it a challenge 5.
Awesome.
If you choose to use it on this.
I would like to. That's not going to do it, so I would like to...
Wait, and Chrissy just intimidated this person, so it's actually down another step. So it's actually a 4.
Okay, and in that case, I get it because I rolled exactly a 12.
Let's go!
How do you get rid of her daggers? Which, once again, I cannot stress enough how nasty they look. As you get a closer look, it's like a levin blade, a very short one. It's serpentine and zigzagged with scales imprinted on the hilt.
Yeah. I think after seeing her reaction to Chrissy's words, Charlie just says, "This next part's not going to be very fun," and steps forward, grabs onto one wrist, turns her so that like my back is against her, and then I slam my elbow against the other wrist so she drops that dagger, and I twist that one out of twist that wrist so that she drops the other one.
And you hear her shriek, and it is louder than anything you heard come from Annabelle as this dagger twists and her arm starts to open, and it's very strange. Her blood is green, and those daggers slip out of her hands.
I think
Sylvie.
Sylvie's bladed heel goes up to this person's throat and just holds them there, and says, "If you would like to move, I can get a little bit closer and I'll push the blade just a little bit. But I won't do damage." So that we keep them alive.
Threatening somebody by like just throwing your foot up on the wall next to their fucking head is so, like, truly frightening in a way that I can't explain.
I think there's a moment too where Charlie's like, "My God."
There's a look
Flexibility is a
of
gift.
complete sort of confusion on Zuri's face. Like, that's Sylvie Hayden.
Give me applause now.
Don't mind if I do. And instead of this person, she goes to start to make an applause with her hands, but instead you can actually see she's wearing a bracelet. It has a large green gem on it, and when she brings her hands together, it's not her hands actually that contact. It's one of the hands goes to make a fist, and it strikes at this gem that is held inside of the bracelet. And when it cracks, green gas begins to pour out of it. I need DC 7.
And
this is going to be a might defense roll from
What do you
everyone.
want?
Is that
DC
down one
7.
from the intimidation?
Oh wait,
still?
sorry. Actually, yes. So that would be a challenge 6 for this.
Okay, I was gonna say, no, Sarah, that sounds like it's higher than it was on a D20, I guess.
And for rolling purposes, this has nothing to do with fear, correct?
This has nothing to do with fear.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
If I use a player intrusion for weak strain, does that apply to everybody or just...
Wait, I have that.
It only applies to you. But that's a good thought because this is absolutely poison.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to roll. Can I roll first and then see if I need to use XP for the weak strain thing after?
Can you do that? Oh, that's useful.
I'm fine with that.
Nice.
I also have a question because you don't ask, you don't get. I am out of XP, just fully. But Kerri made a lovely suggestion in the chat that my existence of stiletto heels might grant one if the GM were, if the narrator were so generous.
Wow.
You know what? Y'all do have my number with that. I'll allow it.
The cell. The cell.
In that case, I would like to use fortuitous malfunction. A trap or dangerous device malfunctions before it can affect me.
Ooh.
Okay. Here, I will, okay, so the devil's bargain we're going to make is that will be the last thing that happens. So first, we'll have Zuri and Charlie, and then and then whatever Chrissy does, and then we'll resolve that.
Okay. All right.
So the rest of us still have to roll.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing I will say, and I want to above table ask folks whether we think this is necessary, is I have the ability Invoke Luck, which is a reskin of Blessing of the Gods, where I can spend a chunk of int to lower the difficulty of this for all of us by 1. Do we think that I should go for it, or do we want to rely on XP abilities and see whether that could theoretically fix it for all of us? Because I do have to spend 3 int just to activate the ability. I absolutely will do it. I just want to make sure that nobody's like, oh no, I think my thing will totally fix it and everything will be fine. Because we do always have Sylvia as a backup in this, whatever is gonna happen right now. Yeah.
I mean, so if you use that brings it down to challenge 5, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yes, which I feel like is much more reasonable, because then even if everybody spends 1 level of effort, that brings it down to 4, and now we're at like roughly the midway point. And I would love for us all to not get poisoned by poison gas right now. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So then I get these flashes of the phone call I got when I found out that my husband Arthur had been in a car crash, and I have this moment of needing everybody to be close to me and needing them to be safe. And I will just reach out and ask for whatever it is that makes me so lucky to come in clutch right now. And I will spend the int, and this will lower that down.
In that case, I succeed my roll.
What's an 11? It's
I've each challenged 3, but with a level of effort, you could hit the challenge 4.
Did we get to 4?
We did. With that, it brings
Okay.
it down to 4.
I will use a level of effort then to. Is that might?
This is going to be might, because in this
Okay.
case, as the gas it starts to pour out of this item, the two of you are able to take a breath of clean air from the sewer before what you breathe in becomes tainted. And then we go to Sylvie, who I believe wanted the device to malfunction. As it happens, it's less, if you'll permit me, that the device malfunctions. It's more that the user of the device malfunctions, because as she's kind of pressing down to release this gas from the gem, it also begins to interfere with those cuts and slices that the two of you inflicted in her body early. And she ends up kind of actually recoiling in on herself and accidentally breathing in some of that gas for herself, kind of consuming the portion of it that would have spilled out onto you, Sylvia. And then Chrissy, I believe we still need a roll from you.
Chrissy did roll a 6, which will beat 2, but I don't think we'll go all the way up to 4, and even with a level of effort can only bring me up to a 3.
Do you have any more EXP?
I am out.
So Chrissy, as you are unable to take a breath, you will breathe in some of this gas, and it burns on the way down, and it burns past that sigil that's still on your chest, and it hurts, and you will take 6 points of might damage. So this just, whatever is in your might pool, subtract 6. Do you still have any points left in your might pool?
I do. I have
Okay.
2 points in my might pool.
So the damage does not spill over into your speed pool. That's good.
Boy, just
And-
Chrissy's just coughing up a lung here. It's really not a good look.
And then we see this woman kind of turn over, and she begins to just like sputter and cough. And then you actually see that Annabelle is also sputtering and coughing. She's kind of put herself behind Zuri and Chrissy. She does seem to have inhaled some of this gas. She's looking very woozy, but is still up. And this woman, she is trying to crawl away. She is going in the direction that she was carrying Annabelle.
I would not like to let that happen, if I may.
And I believe it's your turn. No, it's Zuri and Chrissy's turn, but I believe at this point we are out of initiative. You have sufficiently handled this person. She looks incredibly bad, having taken the full brunt of this poison, and she's got cuts on her body. One of her hands is kind of scrambling, trying to find the knife, but like her vision is absolutely blurred. Her green blood is smearing through this area. And as you look up, you can actually see that in this zone, there's blood on the walls, smeared everywhere. Some of it is old. Some of it is new. A lot of it is green. Most of it is red.
So with my previous turn, I'd left my heel on her throat. And at this moment, I'd like to press harder and say, No, mon cher, you stay. We have questions for you. I will press harder still, if you move any more.
Press harder. I will not betray my order.
Oh, is she not the most delightful? I say to Charlie.
I do not fear death. Kill me. It will be more useful.
Could I knock her out?
Oh, you could, absolutely.
Could we just do that instead? And yeah, I just want to be like, I don't think we're gonna kill you, and I just want to kick just to knock her out.
I will offer the group another group intrusion. This will not negate the success of you knocking her out. I will say that.
I think we need the XP.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would love an XP.
Hard yes.
Let's go for it.
The stiletto blade stiletto
Nice.
held against her neck. Lacking weapons, bleeding everywhere. She clocks what Charlie is about to say, and she knows what a punch looks like when it's coming to her face. In fact, she's knocked out plenty of people in a similar fashion. So what she does is, with every ounce of vigor she can summon up, she takes a deep, deep breath, turns her face in the direction she was trying to run, and will let out an enormous scream that echoes through the cavern, or at least the sewer area. And that just echoes and reverberates. And it seems, and she has a bit of a grin on her face, and then she goes out cold.
Well, at least we know we're going in the right direction. For something.
Everybody okay back there?
I am. These two less so.
Thanks for helping me. Sorry, I don't know. She was just there. I was at work, and then I was being dragged through the cavern. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh gosh, I feel terrible.
I'm uncertain how long we have before reinforcements arrive, but perhaps you can give us the short version of, do you know who that person is, what they were wanting to do with you, and if there's anyone else down here that we should be concerned about.
They were her name was and she kind of like looks and then nods, and she looks super woozy. That's right. She's Delena is her name. She was another acolyte. She was new but very smart, and she just was really friendly, and we were talking, and I was looking into something a friend had been looking at, and then all of a sudden I'm being dragged down here.
Who was this friend?
Probably don't know him, but Micah, they come around the conclave pretty often.
Of course.
As a matter of fact, we do. See, now you guys are on the other side of it. You understand now. Sometimes it looks like it's luck, but really it's just kind of life. Anyways, this is the whole thing, by the way. Also, I might be dying over here.
There are a lot of people who believe in luck. It's common. Happy it's on my side right now. Believing in something, it's a powerful thing.
When's the last time you
Apparently.
saw Micah?
About 6 days ago, 7. It's weird. He usually comes around every day, sometimes every other day. That's why I was a little worried.
What was he looking into?
And she looks down, a little bit woozy, very hesitant, and then she looks up at Zuri. Is it okay to talk to these people?
Yeah. I guess I only met them this morning, but Sab
Okay.
brought us all together, if that means anything to you, since it seemed to know.
Sab? No, I can't say I've heard that name before, but Micah was looking into cults, specifically the chaos cult kind, capital C, chaos. And as a setting note, all of you would at the very least know that chaos cults are it's an umbrella term for religions that are evil in nature, but not the kind of evil where you worship the god of thievery or you worship a god of murder, or because worshiping a god of murder seems pretty mundane, considering what the chaos cults are into. These are cults that want to spread fear, that want to break down everything that is good and right. They will swarm in large areas and perform mass violence. The chaos cults are numerous in kind. They're usually small, and every time one gets squashed, 3 more seem to take its place. But they are also, in a way, religions, often, kind of depending upon the nature of the cult. So the Celestial Conclave would hold a lot of information about different chaos cults.
I don't know if we have a full minute, but if I can, I would also just like to be examining. So by using the decipher skill, spend 1 minute examining piece of writing or code in a language you do not understand, in the sense of, seeing if there's anything I can decipher from the robes or anything on on Delana to help us with anything further.
We can say that's happening while this conversation is going, and y'all have as much time as you think you have given the screen.
First thing, I would like to tie her up in a way that maybe we could like walk her in if we needed to, or at least use her as a human shield for a moment.
So Charlie is tying up Delena while Zuri, you look. She is wearing symbols that one of them is fairly familiar. It would be strictly the 12-pointed circle with the different symbol or with the different arrows on it. This is a general chaos symbol. So that seems to very much track with what Annabelle is saying. The other one, the snake, that is the most repeated symbol on this person's wares. No one here would recognize that without some additional research or without a roll.
So that skill does allow me to make an intellect roll of difficulty 3 or higher based on the complexity of the language or code to get the gist of the message. Does that help me at all, or?
Absolutely. This will be a challenge 4.
Okay. I'm going to roll a 6, which is therefore a 2, but then I'm going to pull out from my bag a little picture book, my curious picture book, and flip it backwards to allow me to retry that roll. And that's a 12, which I think, what did you say?
That beats challenge 4, which is the exact target. So it's interesting. The picture book seems to write in a picture of you looking like you don't know what you're looking at, but then you flip it back and then the page rewrites itself. And instead, it's a very cute little drawing of you with a light bulb. And that light bulb is made out of a little coiled snake. This is the symbol of the Brothers of Venom. They are one of the many capital C chaos cults. They've existed for quite some time. They are small and they are more organized than most other of these cults that exist. They are known for taking targets kind of at random, or taking targets who step on any of their missions that they are going on. It's a mix of promoting their agenda of chaos. You're not sure some of the finer points of what they're up to, because once again, they're older and they're more organized than some of these other groups. So the best guess would be that potentially this person has been on some sort of specific mission with the Emerald or the Celestial Conclave.
I will relay that information to the rest of the group too. I'm not sure this is a good thing.
Well, either way, Micah was probably taken, and I just point to the direction that
Yep.
she had screamed. So I guess that's where we're going, huh?
That sounds
I'm
about
gonna
right.
look at Annabelle and how do we get look at Annabelle and look at my map and see if I can determine where the nearest hole back up to the surface is to kind of give her. I wish I could stay with you, but we've kind of been roped into this, and there's a bigger.
I don't think I can go with you either, but it's, you know, where I live and I work at the Conclave. Come say hi sometime.
Will.
And there's a exit point, another couple of kind of like another block away, but through sewer traffic, maybe 50 feet she has to travel. If you poke your head around a corner, you'd see a little bit of light coming through.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so Annabelle will depart and the group will make their way further down the corridor. You see more blood on the walls, and you see the phrase over and over and over again. Bone to bone, blood to me. Bone to bone, blood to me. And as you walk, you see this scrawled in more blood, and then you come to a large locked grate. Beyond the grate, you can see there are kind of other points of light, but instead of that light coming from above, it seems to be a warm glow, perhaps of a candle.
Oh, this looks inviting. I pull out this like white tube from my pocket and I like uncap it and I hold it out for somebody. I hold it out to Chrissy and I'm like, "Hey, Lee, squeeze this for me."
Uh, um, uh, of course, I
I'm
will.
just like holding out my hand for him to like squeeze it onto.
I do that.
I am using one of my ciphers. It is a like a pink paste comes out of this tube into my hand, and I think I like rub it on my hands and then rub it on the bottoms of my shoes. And you just see like this, it's kind of like sticky, but then it gradually like um almost like absorbs into the skin and of the material of the shoes itself, and I just grab the tube and cap it back and I'm like, "Thanks."
Okay. Oh, all right. And what exactly is that gonna do besides just make your shoes look impressively gooey?
Well, maybe we'll see.
All right. Can I make a recovery roll? Right?
Oh, what?
A recovery roll? Can I recover?
Yes.
'Cause
For
one
those
them
of
is-
you, those of you who are beat up, you can take an action. So just a moment to roll a d6, add a 1 to it because you are tier 1, and whatever you got, the combined total, you can then add those points to your pools. You can add it all to 1, or you can split it up.
I'm a little bit nervous about
I'm going to do the same thing.
things getting worse for Chrissy.
As you take this moment to take a breath, you hear footsteps, you hear shouting, you hear voices. Get this, get that, don't leave that behind. And you hear a lot of commotion coming from the other side of the grate, and then you see one of those little bits of light vanish, as if a candle has been blown out.
Did the footsteps sound like they were coming towards us or away from us?
Away.
Okay.
Was that going to help you with looking at Charlie? Was that going to help you with this? Say
No, absolutely not. No, it'll help me when we're on the other side of it, though.
Okay. In that case, and I'll pull out from my bag my other cipher, which is a little, a small golden key. The hook end of it, I guess, is looks like a set of gently parted lips with like bloodstain on them. And I'll put it in and twist it.
The key, it's very strange. As you put it in, the magic that allows this key to open things shifts it into what it needs to be in order to open the lock. And you almost see it melt into a very thick green ooze that fills the lock. And so it almost looks like the blood and the poison that was dripping out of who you now know to be Delena. And as you go to turn the key, it clicks open. But then those gently parted lips part a little bit more. What would you like to know? I only know things the lock knows.
Is Micah back here?
Yes. I think that's the name they've used.
Are there
Anything
a lot
else?
Are there a lot of them? The snake cult?
Yes. Well, 8 is 8 a lot.
Yeah. Sorry, did that just say 8?
Charlie's like, okay, it is trying to like move to go ahead and go past.
I believe you have 3 questions.
Yeah. Anything else that we want to know right now? Looking around at the rest of the group.
Perhaps the entrance on the other side, if there is one. I don't know if this would know.
Is there a way out further down?
I don't know that. Ask me something else I know. Well, the gate doesn't know that. It's more specific.
Is there a self-destruct button anywhere nearby?
There's a very dangerous fountain.
What? I was kidding.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that worked.
That's fantastic.
Thank
Dangerous fountain.
The key, a tongue will stick out of the key's mouth. It will lick that blood from around it. The tongue will retreat, and then the mouth will close. You have an open door.
That
Okay.
I'll gesture to Charlie.
That was disgusting.
In the process of while we're sort of, going down it, I'm going to pull my bow out and actually string it. And...
As we are walking, I pull a card out of my jacket and I rip it in half. And Sylvie, her outfit, think Sailor Moon transformation. Her peacoat turns into a long cloak. Her beret turns into more of a mask situation. Her boots stretch higher on her legs, and she shines with gold light.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible.
Ah, merci.
Is this the outfit you wore in the spider and his wife?
It was that was based off of this, yes.
It's incredible.
Oh.
Zuri just looks and you've got some stories. I need to that's
Okay.
One or two.
I also have abilities and things that are useful. Just
is this
pretend.
you as the player, or is this Chrissy?
This is Chrissy looking around, like digging through his pockets, like, I don't think I have it. Just imagine I'm also doing something rather impressive right now.
Charlie's like, don't worry, man. Don't worry. And
we got you.
As she's walking, she's veering and beginning to walk on the walls and then eventually walking on the ceiling and going like into a crawl on the ceiling across as the paste is just letting her stick to the surface.
You ever just feel just so old all of a sudden? You just look around and all... Oh,
I've
boy.
never had that feeling.
Making it so much worse if you weren't Sylvie Hayden.
Charlie, as the first person, I'm assuming, to cross the threshold of this gate, you feel this tremendous burning pain in your chest. It almost makes you falter. But then this because there's this almost surge of energy that seems to come from somewhere deeper within this dark area, and you realize we are not in the sewers anymore. This is an area where earth has been removed and where earth has been bricked over to create some sort of chamber or a set of rooms. This isn't super uncommon throughout Tullus. A lot of buildings have basements, and a lot of those basements empty directly out into the sewers. But what is uncommon is this absolute stench of blood. And once again, you are hit with this wave of just terrible, dark energy. But then that burning in your chest almost seems to swallow it. And the pain will go away, and you will not be impacted by this miasma that permeates this area. And you see that phrase, bone to bone, blood to me, everywhere. And you hear footsteps in the distance. Once again, people seeming to be moving in the other direction. And then you hear a small voice. Hey, hello? Coming from a dark corner.
Do we all hear that?
You are the first one through. What do the others do as Charlie moves in?
I am following. I'm
Yeah,
trying to be a little quiet, but
I think I definitely try to like flag them and point to the corner too, even if they don't hear it right away.
I will creep into the corner.
I'm following, but I'm slow about it, and I'm taking my time. I'm assuming these folks are. I'm only gonna slow them down if I try and keep up with them.
So I'll be following Sylvie then with sort of, an arrow knocked and just keeping an eye on whatever might be ahead.
As the group moves more fully into the zone, you kind of go through a corridor, you turn, and there you see that this is some sort of ritual chamber. There is a large set of sigils drawn in the ground. Blood seems to be the most, it seems to be a commodity they have to spare a lot of. This sigil's drawn in green. There is an altar that is still smoking with incense. It appears like it was just put out. You see kind of graffiti all over this chamber. You see various bits of praise, various bits of worship. You see phrases that are invoking this mother and this father, these gods of pestilence, of divine disease. And then you just kind of feel that poison that you almost got choked by earlier, just lowly permeating the air. And all of you, as you enter through this space, you feel that same burning at your chest as some terrible, vile magic is kept at bay by this thing that's on you. And then we get back to that voice. Hey, you don't look to be with them?
I go to the person or voice.
Does this person look like white hair and wings? And
Zuri, you're the first to recognize this person. As you come closer, the voice kind of makes you go down another small corridor, putting the chamber at your back. In the distance, you see more small areas. One seems to lead off to another portion of sewer. Another one, you catch a glimpse of a fountain, very large, with some sort of writhing gray ooze inside of it. And then, once again, this small voice, this person seems to be behind a set of kind of rusting out bars. And they have white hair, and they have clothes that are very dirty. And they have one wing.
I hate to see it. Hey, how are you?
We are the rescue party.
I don't know what you did to make them start to leave like this, but I don't want to be here anymore. I'm Micah. Nice to meet you.
Howdy, Micah. My name's Chrissy Corbus.
Howdy. That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
I like that.
Thank you. This is Sylvie, Zuri, Charlie. And oh, I've always wanted to say this. You're trying to get out of here? It's your lucky day. Am I right?
You hear Charlie roll her eyes from the ceiling.
I'm truly shocked you have not been able to say that yet.
I've never said it. This is
How?
the first time.
The gate that you are behind, do they use keys? Is it magic? Do you know?
I honestly, I've been so woozy. It seems like usually a key, I think. But I've been trying to kind of get out of here, but nothing helps. It's not really my bag. I'm more of a thinker than a doer, I guess. I'm always getting critiques for that, but it is what it is, I guess. And as y'all are kind of talking with Micah, you hear more footsteps. Some of them are distant, but then you hear a set that tends to get closer, and you hear a voice. Did we put out the incense? And then another voice, yes, I took care of it. And you hear some of these arguments as a group of people are very clearly starting to extract themselves from this area.
Okay. Are we just trying to get Micah and get out of here? Do we need
I
to
think
worry
so.
about these folks? Okay. Well,
I have a question for Sarah. How far is this fountain? And do I think that by fucking it up, that would like infect the area? Like, would it go up topside, I guess, is what I'm thinking. Like, would it fuck everybody or would it just fuck these guys?
You'd have to get the fountain is like down a corridor through the ritual chamber and then kind of another small corridor, so it's not far from you, so you could like quickly sprint from one place to the other. It's not quite with an eye line, but it gave off really bad vibes. It would probably take some time to understand what the consequences of that action might be.
Okay. Then yeah, I think I'm just team let's get the fuck out of here, and I'm on the ceiling keeping an eye to make sure nobody can sneak up on my friends.
So,
Okay.
I have a question. Sylvie has been in theater for a very long time, so she knows how set pieces are made, potentially. I, Farah, have watched Pirates of the Caribbean. In that moment where they pop the gates at the front because it's just pins in the door. You can screw up the door by just popping it, right? Based on the fact we have a person on the ceiling and 2 strong people here at least, is there a way we can leverage between the 2 or 4 of us, or 5 of us even, to pop the gate open vertically instead of trying to pick a lock?
Absolutely, given Charlie's position, the muscle you have, but also the smarts that you have brought. I will say it's not a question of whether or not you can do it. The question becomes, how quietly can you do it? Or rather, how much noise will this make? I will leave that up to you. You can do it.
Well,
Does anyone-
I have a suggestion. I have a grappling gun. Can I don't want to shoot because that's going to make a lot of noise. Can I basically like trigger that, wrap it around, and then just retract it from the ceiling? Does that make sense?
I'd say that would just helps you with the process of extracting it from the top. This is still a pretty rusty gate, so it seems like it will make some amount of noise and likely draw some attention unless we take care of that situation.
Well, I have a means of escape very quickly. If we can get this thing open, I can get us out with expedience.
And all right. Well, just for safety's sake, how about y'all get ready to pull that gate? And I'm gonna go stand as close as I can to the source of the sound and try and time it out with a sound that they make to have them at that moment pull the gate so that it comes running.
You wait and you wait, and you do start to hear what sounds kind of like the shuffling of boxes. Once again, only a couple of rooms, and you hear more voices. And then you hear one that goes, "Shit, we forgot the angel." And then you hear footsteps, but you have a forewarning of them coming in this direction. You are aware that you have at least one of these individuals who is pretty quickly coming in your direction.
All right. Get ready to go. And Chris is gonna straighten up everything and confidently walk out of this room towards the person. Uh, and what are you doing?
Who are you?
Uh, I'm here to help. I was here to make sure that the angel was taken care of, and here you are walking around. Looks to me like the angel's still locked up in a cage. So what gives?
I will ask again, who are you? And then we will cut to Sylvie and Zuri and Charlie. You can hear this conversation happening. Chrissy, this person looks very nonplussed. There is a sharpness to their face. Their clothes are covered in ichor and this poison, and they look terrible, but there is a fineness to them. This person is intentionally wearing their clothes in this way. It was
Gross.
a woman walking with a cane, and she looks at you with just absolute contempt. So once again, Sylvie, Zuri, Charlie, what are you doing?
Whatever they're going to do, I just lower down my little grappling thing to try to help, and I am ready to just start pulling.
I do a couple squats, then I pop it up. Build up that kinetic energy, my friend.
I just kind of echo what Sylvie's moves are, but probably with providing very little assistance to it.
Are you attempting
And-
to make this quiet at all?
Yeah, I don't. If it's quiet, it's quiet.
Yeah, I think we are prioritizing speed over stealth in this
Mhm.
moment. Yeah.
And as soon as if I hear like it work, I am just dropping down to I don't know how like if I need to be close to Sylvie for this quick escape, but
Mhm.
I'm dropping down like hopefully right next to her.
Given all of the things you've laid out as advantages, the door pops up. It is rather loud as you hear some rusted bits grind against one another. And then, of course, as the door kind of hinges open and kind of drags along some of the stone floor. Chrissy, you see this woman. She has older features, dark hair that's been pinned upwards, and she looks. No, I think you were taking care of the angel, weren't you? Who are you?
I would like to lower my head slightly, and I take the coin from my pocket and I flip it up into the air. And as it lands in my hand, I say, I think you know who I am. And I pray.
Is it heads or tails?
We're gonna see right now. I've got a coin here, and I am gonna flip it. All right, here we go. Heads, baby, let's go! So I lower whatever it is I have to do right now automatically by 2 levels.
A grin pulls at the side of her face. I don't know who you are, but I know how to seize a lucky opportunity when I see one. Fine. Have the angel. We'll get another one. I can't much have them to drag through the streets while we do what we have to do next. But now I do know your face. Hide it well.
I
You can hear, meanwhile, the door has come off the hinges. Since you knew the plan, you can kind of understand what is going on. There seems to be a very clear, she found it curious, your gambit, and she is respecting it. But you can feel this person, just this kind of energy radiating off of them. And then you feel that sigil on your chest burn again, almost alerting you to the danger of this situation.
Can I tell whether she's bluffing? Like, whether she actually needs Micah, and whether us taking Micah is actually just gonna not be helpful, like just a minor inconvenience to them, like she seems to be implying it is.
Roll me some sort of discerning people's motives, insight,
Okay.
anything related to that would count. This is a
Uh,
challenge 6.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. Okay, so it's lowered automatically by 2 to
Yes.
4.
Yes.
And then I'm going to spend 3 luck to get a level of effort to lower
Making
it
it
down
a 3.
to 3.
It's nearly a coin flip now.
Oh, ain't that just the way? I think that's all I can do. I think that's all I've got. So
I think so.
we'll see. Straight up and down 10. Right on that middle. I like to think
But
Chrissy flips the coin again and then it just lands on its edge in the middle of his palm. He tries not to get freaked out by that.
you have a moment where you're actually able to peer past this flat, icy affectation of this woman, just kind of who has clothed herself in pestilence. She is clearly annoyed at the situation. She is very clearly unhappy with the fact that someone, you, probably others that she can hear based off of the noise, have come into her place of worship and are defiling it in their own way. And she is not happy. But it is clear that she was honest in that she is capitalizing on an opportunity to kind of fix a different problem for herself. And she does seem genuinely happy to know your face.
Okay.
But she is unhappy that you are here and that you have done this to her.
I'm willing to take that.
And then we'll cut back to Sylvie, Zuri, Charlie, and
think-
Micah. Oh my gosh, y'all are amazing. I've been here for so long, I didn't think I'd get out.
Yeah, we're missing one. And I think if you'll allow, I just kind of like pop around the corner to Chrissy and be like, hey, sorry, that one belongs to us. And I just reach over and try to pull Christy over with us.
Oh, jeez.
Meanwhile, Sylvie has pulled out a silver pocket watch out of her pocket, and clicks the button at the top and thinks about the pointy hat. Was that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The pointy hat.
At the table, next to the table, rather, where we first all met. And a white rabbit leaps out of the pocket watch, dives into the ground, and a hole appears. And Sylvie begins to walk down into the hole, nonplussed.
You're
What up,
right.
people?
I'm the lucky
Just
one.
reach in. I just reach in and grab Micah's hand and help him to stand up and escort him into the hole as well.
Thank you. And it is clear Micah does need the assistance moving. There is blood poured, or there is dried blood kind of all over the one side of their body, but his eyes are still very bright, and he seems very just excited to see all of you. Thank you. I'm just gonna trust. And Micah will jump through with you, Zuri.
I
You
will
hear the
hit them.
loud striking of that cane, because she has turned and is heading back down, and you hear in her voice barking orders at a couple of other people. More lights vanish from the space.
I think I just got rather unlucky. And
Happens to the best of us.
ain't that just the way? And then we'll head down.
Once we are all out, I will close the portal immediately.
You pop back out. Only a couple of hours later, you're back at the Pointy Hat. It's much busier now. You see other folks in kind of robes or in armor, people with swords. Charlie, this is very much actually kind of a crowd that you'd be familiar with. You recognize a couple of other delvers here. Zuri, you'd recognize a handful of folks who you went to school with, from those who were specifically kind of skilled in magic and training in some of that. Chrissy, you're new in town, but somehow you do seem to see people you've met on the street. And Sylvie, of course, there's fans and one or two of the other people from the Cloud Theater here. But most importantly, we see Tegan. She's kicked back her feet. They're up on the booth. It seems like she's just been hanging out here, and she's just thumbing through a book, something really lascivious. Oh, you came back. Oh my God, Micah. And all of a sudden, Micah will let go of Zuri and almost collapse into the booth. Tegan starts to stand and wraps her arms around him and kind of puts her head on the side of her face. Micah is smiling, and tears start to pour down the side of his face, but they are happy tears. I can't believe they did this to you, but we'll get you fixed up. It's so good to see you. And Micah is just saying something very soft and muffled into Tegan's chest. You can't really hear, but what you see is this very happy reunion between these two. And Tegan kind of, there's a couple of minutes where you don't exist to these two. Tegan runs kind of some hands or a hand through Micah's hair to ruffle it a bit, smiles, and then finally will acknowledge the rest of you. Seems like you would have been fine with one day.
Let's not make it an habit, huh?
I mean, you could say it was a lucky day.
You all need to be careful. They're not done. They're gonna take more of you.
Who?
I'm not sure. I kind of motioned to the missing wing.
The Brothers of Venom.
I don't recognize that name. It sounds bad.
Yeah.
From experience,
It is.
pretty bad.
Okay. I'll tell Sab. I'll tell the others. Anything else? Gosh, this is amazing. All of you. This is amazing.
Could we can get rid of this, please? I need to not have this right on the front of my chest.
When you go to sleep tonight, it'll disappear. You'll wake up, it won't be there anymore. It's how it tends to work.
Oh, there's a cheat for that. If you go to sleep right now, it'll disappear.
Tegan scrunches up her face real hard and kind of looks up and is just kind of nodding.
Well, if you think about it, tonight is a very relative term, so...
I can knock one of us out real quick. We can see if it'll work.
This is part of the moneymaker. I would prefer you do not touch it. Thank you.
I would like to lean in and say, now, I would like y'all to know that I don't blame y'all, but when you next speak to Sab, you tell them that I just showed my face to a group who would most likely not like to see me continue. And that's put a lot of risk on my life. And I would really appreciate it if some type of benefit, a bonus, that is, for me and my friends, for the amount of risk we just took, could be shown.
If you could, maybe we can. I want to get Micah back to the Pale Tower, and it'd be good to talk. You know, I take the description, I guess, this of the person you're worried about. I want to go look more into the Brothers of Venom, you said, but yes, I think having more than a fourth day, I think, is the line, is something you deserve. Just give me a bit of time to figure out something that's worth it.
Yeah, not to be this person, we also got it done in 1/3 the time. So, pretty impressive, I gotta say, all things considered.
Your next round's on me. Take it easy. Thank you.
We'll see.
And with that, Tegan will actually kind of like pick up Micah, who's very small in frame. And Tegan will actually put a kiss on his forehead, and you'll see a good amount of the wounds on his body will almost immediately cure. And he's kind of almost immediately goes to sleep in her arms, and they walk out, leaving all of you in the pointy hat.
I would like to say it has been a pleasure, and you are all quite lovely. Charlie, you are a particularly good dancer. Merci. However, I hope we do not meet like this again.
I
Next
agree.
time, perhaps drinks. Yes?
I like
Oh.
drinks.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't find myself paying much to drink, so I'd be happy to. Let's say next round's on me. Hey,
Well, your first round was on. My first round was on you too, kind of.
it's it's kind of a long run. Don't worry about it. I don't pay for things generally. It's good because I don't have any money either, so it's kind of it's a win for everybody that I don't pay for things.
Whenever you go to sleep, it's interesting. It doesn't quite matter if you don't sleep for 2 more days or if you go to bed in that booth. Your consciousness once again awakens in that black space. Once again, you see that swirling vortex of feathers and you see that sliver of rainbow light. It looks bigger, larger, more brilliant when you look at it this time, almost as if a piece of it has been restored. And then you see each other in this space, held in this moment, and you hear that voice again, this time much gentler. This time, instead of seeming to come from all around you, trying to command respect, it's gentle, and it speaks to you from that vortex of feathers. We are the key that preserves the way. We are the path that opens the gate. We are Sabrayo. Now that you know our name in full and what we are, you may call upon us, should you need us in the future, just as we have called upon you. And you see that brand on your chest. It glows. There's no pain this time. It just glows with that rainbow light. And it glows, and it's very bright in this dark space, filling it with this beautiful light. And then it subsides, and it disappears. And that light seems to fold down into your chest. It's this ability to call on this being at some point. And then the feathers swirl, and then you see Micah wearing clean white clothes, and their 2 white wings come out from behind them. And Micah looks to all of you with a smile on his face, and he just says, "Thank you." And when you wake up, each one of you will find a golden feather, a feather wrought from pure gold, on your chest. It is yours to do as you will. You could sell it for a pretty penny. You could use it for one fancy night out on the town, or keep it as a souvenir.
Great, I eat it.
And that is where we will end this adventure in Tolis. I have been Sarah L. Kinney. You can find me all around the internet. Follow me on Twitter to find out other stuff that I am up to, but otherwise, I'll leave you there.
Oh yeah, hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Gainer. I am an actor, TTRPG enthusiast, professional GM. I guess now that's a job title. You can find me on Twitter or anywhere on the internet at Gaynorcott. That's GAYNORCOTT. When this comes out, I'm sure I will be having things happening. So go check out my Twitter and things. And cast me in your shit.
Hello, I have been Farah Sarpkaya, all over the socials as Farah Kaya, and also all over Crossroads Games. You will find me there very frequently, as well as 12-sided stories, as well as Phandalin by Night, and a bunch of other stuff. So check me out on the internet. And this has been a delight. Thank you, Sarah. Always a pleasure.
Hey, I've been Cadence, or I still am Cadence. You can find me on Twitter at Cadence Interrupt. That's INTRRUP, interrupted without the TED. And you can find me on my website at midnightquills.net with a Kickstarter hopefully coming out this year for my TTRPG campaign setting. So, yeah, keep an eye out and follow and get in touch.
I am Kerri Smith. It's Kerri Smith 2012 on most platforms. I am a bunch of titles: owner, organizer, producer, storyteller, resident editing wizard for Crossroads Games. So check us out there, and please, if you liked this, check out our backlog of other Crossroads Chronicles one-shots, because we show off more fantastic GMs with more fantastic systems, and keep an eye out for next month, because maybe there will be another one. I truly don't know. So, this has been Crossroads Chronicles, and this was absolutely fucking wonderful, Sarah. What is happening with Sarah's background right now? The void is coming.
Indeed.
Wait, who's doing math wrong? Is it me?
I rolled a 14.
It's me.
Yeah. It's
You-
me.
You beat the challenge. You could save this episode as a treat. You could watch it as a nice evening, or you could just eat it. Good night.